What's up, everybody? We are here inside of Hooters I Drive. That's 8801 International Drive in Orlando, Florida. And it is live from I Drive as I am here with Aaron Hackett.
Yes,
Happy to have Hack. It's been a long time, brother.
It's been a long time since I've been back in Orlando, man. A couple years. Great to be here. Great to link back up. I know we just got back on the show, so appreciate you having me up here. Short drive from Venice, so glad to be part of the show.
Yeah, man, and it's great to have you here as we just got to do an exclusive, actually, within the last couple weeks with you.
Yeah.
And did very well. Got some nice feedback, and it's good, that people finally got to know your story, because I have, and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you feel this way because you're the person that goes through the story, but so many times in this sports and entertainment world, especially because there's a spotlight all the time, people speak for you, and I felt like they needed to know your story and nobody could tell it better than you. And now that you've told it and you put it out there, I feel like now people have that record set straight. So I want to thank you for letting me do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I encourage all the athletes out there, just be truthful with what's going on, and tell your story if you have an opportunity. I think that's the cool thing we see about lately with this NIL stuff, and just athletes being able to tell their story and have a voice and monetize it. So I appreciate you, man. You've always been somewhere where all us SU players, whether you're playing former or not, kind of come on the show, say what we need to say, and talk about the brotherhood and bond that is formed through Syracuse football.
Yeah, man, and we've had the opportunity to, and I appreciate that, but the thing is about what we get to do with this show is we've gotten to tell so many different stories, and we've gotten to have you guys on. And the thing for me that I love to do is that after you guys are all finished up, you're always welcome, and you know that, the guys know, everybody knows that, the guys that are playing know that, guys coming in know that, and, obviously those that are finished up, at Syracuse know that there's always a home for you. There's always an opportunity. And I think it's great because I tell people, I'm like, if you go and you be a pilot, a janitor, a teacher, you're doing NIL stuff, like whatever you're doing, you always have a place on the show. Because to me, I mean, once you come through, then you're a part of the family. And so, I appreciate the fact that you took me up on that.
Yeah, whenever and wherever. I mean, so many, Syracuse alums all over the country, even down here in Orlando, Florida. I mean, I drive around back home in Venice, and you see Syracuse license plates all the time. So that, like I said, that brotherhood and that bond you make with your teammates while at Syracuse, that lasts forever. And even the alumni who have came down there and been so generous to the program, and the great people I had a chance to meet while I was playing football there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk about Floyd Little, just such an amazing guy coming and speaking to the team, and him being around the program, how influential that was as a football player and as a person. So I'm very appreciative that I'm an SU alum. I know you got more guys coming through the show this week coming down here in Orlando, so inspires me to reach out to my fellow SU alums down here in Florida.
And you got the opportunity to do that very recently here, where you were able to reach out and reconnect with Beckett Wales, another tight end in SU history. And I would love to get your thoughts on what it was like to be around Beckett again, and just, what that reconnection has meant to you.
Yeah, man. I mean, the impact Beckett Wales had on my career. Obviously, Beckett played, I think 2008 to 2010. So, but I had always grown up around Beckett.
Yeah.
Beckett, Trey, Clay Burton, Dree Archer, my brother, they all played on the Venice High School basketball team. So I was actually growing up, I was their water boy for the Venice basketball team, and that was one of the first years they had a really good season. But Beckett went to Syracuse after that, obviously, and came back, and his first couple years out of college was my tight end coach at Venice High School. And, some of the biggest time of development, I believe, is through your sophomore to junior year in high school. You know what I mean? That's where you're determined, are you going to play Division I football? You know what I mean? You got some late bloomers, but especially down in Florida, that's when the recruiting starts to pick up. And so having Beckett as a tight end coach down there in Venice was just huge for me. And, just a great impact, great mentor in my life.
Yeah.
I'm really appreciative of him. So I'm going to, last Friday, I just started back at Postgame, so I'm back in Sarasota County. And this is the first Venice High School football game I've been to in 4 years, because I've always been playing my first year not playing football. So I'm pulling up to the game, and I see Beckett out there. He's doing all the parking, you know what I mean? And that's just a testament to him, man. He's a great guy, and, always giving back to the community, giving back so much to me. Great SU alum. I remember being up in Syracuse, and, guys who have been in the program, there's certain people who don't change. Obviously, Baby Doll, the chef for so long. God bless her, man. She was amazing. But so she remembers Beckett, as well as Jimmy, the equipment man. Just great people who, coaching changes or not, they stay around the Syracuse program. And so just to be able to hear about Beckett when he was up there and, mold myself after him, he joked like, oh, we got another crazy tight end from Venice, Florida. And that was exactly what it is, man. And I'm just I'm thankful for Beckett. And he definitely encouraged me to, give back to the community and start coaching. And that inspired me. Guys like him, as well as Clay Burton, who's the tight end coach at Venice High School right now, who, played at University of Florida, played in the NFL, both of those guys. So I've been helping out. We've got a good young tight end at Venice High School right now. He's learning some lessons. First year playing football, but he's committed to FAU. So he's got good mentorship around him. And, Venice High School, it's interesting because we have put out, I would say in the last 5 years, there's been 4 Division I tight ends out of that high school. And I think that Beckett had so much to do with starting that mentorship because it was, it was Beckett Wales and Clay Burton, and there was me, and now, there's Weston Wolf, a kid who's at Maryland, he's ready for a breakout season, absolutely.
And who's the FAU?
His name's Finn Jones. Yeah, he's here at Venice High School. So
all right.
He'll be at FAU next year with Coach Willie Taggart.
Yep, and I'll have him because I cover the American heavily, and FAU will be in 2023. So.
Yeah. So
when he comes in, they'll have moved over to the American.
Yeah, and with all this conference realignment, man, who knows what's going to be happening at this point. So it's crazy. And thankful to grow up here in Southwest Florida, short drive, hour and a half drive from Orlando. So came up here, link up with you, man, and excited. It's going to be a great day. Ready to get some wings.
It's awesome here. We want to thank you for tuning in live every Monday through Friday, and typically our times are 9 to 11, but you know that for Hooters Week, we are here from noon to 2 today. That is noon to 2 p.m. as we're going to follow you through your lunch time, and so always happy to be here with you at Hooters iDrive of Orlando, live from iDrive here for the College and Pro Football Preview Week, and here on 8801 International Drive at this location at Hooters. And I want to thank everybody that's been here with us. I want to thank Tim Baum. I want to thank Jeff Spraker. I want to thank Farron as well, and everyone that's made this awesome. The Hooters girls have been fantastic, and they'll be joining us during the show today to have some fun and definitely have a good time with some rapid-fire questions and whatnot. We got a lot to get into today, and we are definitely got a lot of great things coming up. So with this being Hooters Week, and today in my conversation with Aaron Hackett, we're going to get into Syracuse football. We're also going to get into college football in general. We're going to have a conversation about name, image, and likeness and speak more about where Aaron Hackett is working as the Director of Athlete Relations for Postgame. And then we'll get into some more pieces here that we'll have going on, including getting into the Camping World Bowl of 2018, which is now called the Cheez-It Bowl, name, image, and likeness in general, the transfer portal, and we'll, like I said, have some rapid fire. So plenty of great stuff coming up here where sports meets life, and always happy to be here with you for Hooters Week. Every single year we get to preview the college and pro football seasons right from Hooters of iDrive. So thanks for hanging out with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, youtube.com, facebook.com, and mixlr.com, all /WakeUpCallDT, on wakeupcalldt.com, and on facebook.com /LiveNowDT. Once these shows go live, you can check them out on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Podbean, Player FM, Podvine, TuneIn, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So, with that being said, with Aaron Hackett continuing our Hooters Week here, a lot of good stuff to get into, like I said. First thing that I want to jump into, and I actually shared it with Farron here, the GM at Hooters of iDrive, is the fact that when they threw you the ball, you caught it 80, 90% of the time. Touchdowns, getting out there. I mean, when they went to you in the end zone, you were almost automatic. And so, not only yourself, but the fact that you were part of a good tandem, right? Mm-hmm. And so, with Luke Benson. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it was never that you didn't do your job. It was that when they threw to you, you did your job. They just didn't throw to you that much. So I can say how I feel about it.
Yeah,
but how was your time
man,
at
first off, it's never that simple.
I know.
If you just want to talk about my time at Syracuse University,
I'm trying to say you were a good tight end.
Oh yeah, absolutely, GT. And we had a nickname in our position group. It was called the Animal Kingdom. So that included my man Rhino, Chris Elmore, Luke Benson, the fastest tight end I've ever played with. He's the road runner. And then myself, and then Ravion Pierce, who was all a little older than us, but he came in for me and Rhino's freshman year. So yeah, that's what we called that tandem. And I would say for a 3-year, 4-year period stretch, even with Ravion Pierce, continuing on to me and Luke that season we had in the next year, man, we were lighting it up.
Yeah.
And,
so you had the road runner, the Rhino.
Yeah,
what were you?
I was the Moose. That's what Coach Reno Fareed, my man. That's what he named me for Animal Kingdom. I don't know. I was just a big stocky Daryl Moose Johnson. You know what I mean? Like
right.
I guess.
So you were the Moose, and Ravion was what?
He was the Black Panther, and
okay.
Ravion. Yeah,
I like that.
And I had a chance, man, to go see Ravion a couple weeks ago and hang out with him.
Yeah.
And I still talk to Luke Benson daily. Actually, we still, it's funny. We have a group chat still named Animal Kingdom that includes our old position coach, Coach Fareed. And he accidentally sent a message the other day. He said rolling at 6:45 sharp. I think he meant to send it to his tight end. He's now the tight end coach at Akron.
Yeah.
He meant to send it his position group, and got sent to us. So we were all kind of playing with him, laughing at it. I'm like, yeah, coach, I'll be there for sure. But it was a great period of time. For Syracuse tight ends, like you mentioned, the greats, man. John Mackey, Chris Gedney. Beckett Wales, so many great tight ends.
Yeah,
and
the Provost, Tyler and Nick.
Tyler and Nick, who played with Beckett, arguably, one of the greatest tight end in Syracuse history. I'll put that up to test. So, he had one of the greatest seasons. Beckett Wales had one of the greatest seasons of all time. So that tight end, that position runs deep. And there's a reason that the Mackey Award for the best tight end every year is named after John Mackey, Syracuse tight end.
Yeah.
Famous Indianapolis Colts. So
yeah,
I'm proud to be an SU alum.
A Hall of Famer.
John
Mackey.
Yeah, put some respect on his name. Yeah, John Mackey. So yeah, I'm thankful to be part of that tradition.
And being a part of that, and like you said, it's never that easy. So what were some of the hard things that you dealt with as a tight end at Syracuse that people didn't see?
Just being a college athlete, there's so many, so many daily struggles, the ups and downs. I'll probably talk about, that the COVID season and, going into training camp, what people don't understand about that Syracuse season, because I think whatever we ended up 1-12 or however awful that record was, they don't understand the sacrifices that were made for that team to even kick off. This was at a period where we were in camp and there was days, the guys know the story, Andre Sisco, Rhino. If it wasn't for great leaders on that team, we wouldn't have played that year. Because not only with the COVID virus going on, but as well as, we were down linemen. We had no linemen at all.
Yeah.
And so what the sacrifice was made was that my man Rhino stepped up and played guard for us that year, the whole year, and was tough as nails. And I moved into kind of that fullback slot. And, I guess a lot of people don't understand that me and Luke that year also were tasked with blocking a lot more. And, trying to protect the quarterback. And it's listen, man, there's a lot of that's a tough position to play in that offense, but great coaching with Coach Fareed and a great mentor, and I think you're going to see that position take off again this year. Those guys are working hard, I know, and a lot of names you haven't heard a whole lot, but I expect some big time red zone touchdowns again this year from the junior members of the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, and I love. And I never knew that. I love that because I know Rhino's name because we talk about it all the time. But the fact that the tight end room from Reno Fareed, the old tight end coach at Syracuse, was called the Animal Kingdom. So Aaron the Moose, Ravion Pierce the Black Panther, awesome. And then you got the Rhino for Chris Elmore, and you have the Roadrunner for Luke Benson.
Yep.
That is a pretty awesome. Now, did Reno come up with all the names?
They were handcrafted, with Reno.
So Reno's responsible for Rhino.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know exactly the origin of the nickname. I know he definitely had heavily influence on that one. I think that also comes from, just talk about Rhino. His first, one of our first years in fall camp, coming in and. Him taking Zaire Franklin head on back-to-back times on ISO and giving him, the first time Rhino caught him under their chin and then they ran it again. And it was, to this day, still one of the biggest collisions I've seen in football. So he was Rhino from there off. and he earns that nickname every Saturday.
Yeah.
So I think, a rock with the Rhino. But like going back to what I was saying is that, the sacrifice it took it. He had to go play guard, so I slid to fullback. There was days where, and this is coming right off tearing my pec. I tore my pec in April of that season at home during quarantine. Got sent home, got injured lifting weights, so I was fresh off injury. Had the green shirt, couldn't really practice, but there was days where we had practice scheduled at SU for that upcoming season, and player-led meetings occurred, not in the facility, we didn't practice. The players met at UV, University Village, which is, the student housing right across from Manly. And we basically, there's videos of it. We all met up on this hill and decided, are we going to play football or not this year? Yeah. And so
you guys actually boycotted practice a few times to ask for better COVID protocols.
It was that, yeah. So the COVID definitely played. But then you got to think too. It's like we had no linemen, right? I know Big Dakota, he was down. Chris Bleich wasn't able to play yet. I believe he was there. We moved Chris Elmore, who, his sacrifice, again, I'm going to keep on talking about him. We'll get him on the show later. But, we moved him to guard, and he played guard. And I believe with PFF, he was the highest graded. He was one of our highest graded linemen that season. And that goes to attest to his attitude. But, we had player-led meetings outside the facility to determine if we don't want to play. And, like I said, great leaders like Andre Cisco, Fatu Melifonwu, guys all came together and said, hey, we need to do this. And, people sacrificed a lot that season. Cisco, what happened to him? He got hurt in pregame warmups. Yeah. And, that's why he's at SU.
What was that injury?
It was just, I don't know exactly. I wasn't, when you're warming up for a pregame, the DBs, the tight ends.
It's like he's jogging, and then all of a sudden he's gone.
I don't know what happened, but just in terms of sacrificing to play that season. And
he wanted to play Trill. Trill was...
Yeah, absolutely, all those guys. And, I would think Coach Faribi had a huge influence. Coach Vince Reynolds, who I know is no longer there. But there was a lot of, tough meetings, tough conversations that had to be had, and guys opted out. That eventually led to the emergence of Sean Tucker and where they are this year with Syracuse football, because...
The happy accident.
Yeah, the happy accident. Our starting two running backs, Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard, they didn't end up playing for us with their own personal decisions and their own health decisions.
How did you guys deal with that? Not to interrupt you, but how did you all find out? How did it happen? Did they come to a team meeting and tell you? Or did you find out from the coaching staff?
Listen, man, there were so many team meetings at this point that it was chaos. It was beautiful chaos. Think about it. The MAC had got shut down. The Big Ten had even got shut down. Guys were like, "Hey, I'm looking at flights to go back home and continue rehabbing my pec, thinking I'm not going to play this season." I played 4 months off a pec injury. So talk about sacrificing things to play that season. But a lot of guys, and in Syracuse history, that year will be looked at and laughed upon, right? They went 1-12, terrible football team. But we played a lot of teams tough, and it took guts to even play that year. And people don't understand that. And I played obviously 4 years at Syracuse. I played on arguably one of the greatest teams, winning the Camping World Bowl down here in Orlando in 2018. Yeah. And I had a lot of great memories at Syracuse. That bond and that, just that year, it brings guys together. And it was tough. It was really hard. I think I learned a lot from my life for that. And, those are where those bonds and that friendship is bond forever. You know what I mean? Everything is going horrible, man. We're losing every single week. But, great coaching up there at Syracuse. We'd still go out and practice hard. And Coach Faree throughout the year even gave us a pancake count in practice where he said, "Hey, you got to take this many guys down in practice here. Snaps are limited." So
okay. So when Abdul and Jarvion, when they opted out, was that after you guys decided to play as a team, or was that before?
It was all a series of events that just kept on. You know what I mean?
Was it hard? You're on the offense.
It was tough. Guys. So we continued throughout camp. This is during camp when it happened, and it was tough. And I remember we had Jawar Jordan, who was really good. And my man Markenzie Pierre we were going to go with those two. We had depth at the running back room. Yeah. And unfortunately, we could play UNC the first game of the year, and Jawar's, he's going to be a great football player, but we ran him up the middle, inside zone, split zone, time and time again, and unfortunately he got hurt. He's not an up the middle type of guy. He wasn't at that point in his career. Yeah. I see him now. He's big. He's younger then. And so he got hurt, and that led to the emergence of Sean Tucker. I remember Sean Tucker's first carry was against Pitt and we ran ISO, which is basically, as simple as I could put it, is that the tackle block's out, the guard block's down, and I'm back there at fullback. I have a one-on-one with the linebacker. That's it. You know what I mean? Down block, out block, one-on-one with the linebacker. And that was his first carry. They told me I was in the huddle. They told Coach Gilbert, said, hey, this first one, just go ahead and cut this guy.
Yeah.
And I cut the mess out of the linebacker, and Sean Tucker hit it right up off me and took it for a 20-yard gain. And that was the emergence of Sean Tucker, man. And ever since that point, like, yeah, he's just look where he is now. I mean, I think he's a Heisman dark horse candidate. I believe that him and Schrader and those guys are the key to Syracuse success, especially their run game this year.
Accounted for over 2,200 yards combined, Schrader and Sean Tucker last year.
Yeah.
And Sean Tucker's single season record for a Syracuse running back above Joe Morris, above Floyd Little, above Ernie Davis, above Jim Brown, above Larry Zonka.
Yeah, you might have to repeat those things one more time so people get it.
Yeah, like Sean Tucker above Larry Zonka, above Jim Brown, above Ernie Davis, above Joe Morris, above Floyd Little.
And that's why I love Sean Tucker, because, I mean, being at Syracuse, as you're an older guy, you start hosting official visits, and guys come in and say, you know what I mean? 4-star recruit, they have all sorts of ridiculous requests. Yeah. And guys will come in and say, hey, I want to wear 44 or whatever.
Like Sean Tucker, above Larry Zonka, above Jim Brown, above Ernie Davis, above Joe Morris, above Floyd Little.
And that's why I love Sean Tucker, because, I mean,
and he told me flat out he didn't want it.
As you're an older guy, you start hosting official visits, and guys come in and say, you know what I mean? Sean Tucker, like 4-star recruit, they have all sorts. Was one of the first people to say it, and that was when we were in camp still. He was getting maybe 4th or 5th string reps. This is when Abdul and Jarvin were there. So he was, when you're a freshman coming in, your reps and team are very limited. And, man, Luke Benson came up to me and said, hey, Tucker runs that thing hard. I said, yeah, I see it, but, we got to do a Jarvion. Yeah. And then he just, Luke was really the first one always in my ear. Yeah, man, Tuck, hey, man, he's in there. When I'm blocking, like, he's just there, because he wasn't going with me at the time. He was taking the reps with Luke. And, look at it. I mean, look at him now. He stayed true to himself, man. He's pleased. He's humble. He's doing a great job marketing himself. I don't see him active really in the NIL space, but when it's time for him to be a draft pick and go to the NFL, I mean, he's extremely marketable, and he'll handle those things when that bridge comes. But his Twitter account's hilarious too, man. Like, I'm glad I can tune in from the outside. Yeah,
you like the whole "this is how I felt I did today."
I mean, he keeps it real. He keeps it real. He keeps it real for sure.
Well, I gotta say something about the last game of the season. He called out the offensive coordinator, called out the team, he said, I wish I did better. I want to do better for the seniors, but this was play calling. I don't call the plays. As a former player, for or against calling out your coaches on social media?
I think Sean Tucker runs that ball so hard, and he gives everything he can.
Are you okay with it, though?
I'm okay with it. I think he's brutally honest in his tweets, man. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And, no, I don't have any problem with it. I think now more than ever, athletes have a voice, and, you know what I mean, are able to express themselves. And the way he does it is in a controlled manner, you know what I mean? And if anything, it brings it's good attention to the program. Good or bad, he always has a tweet that sums up the week. And sometimes as a person, you can't just appease everyone. You got to keep it real and keep it honest. I mean, are there times I wish I could have went on and said, damn, I am pleased with how I blocked, but Sterling Gilbert, why are you not throwing me the ball? I had 6 touchdowns last year. I could have done it. I didn't take advantage of it. It might have helped me out, get some more balls that last year. But, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for athletes having a voice and expressing however they want. The other ones on the field. I think we're moving past this day and age where it's like the coaches have all the control. You just shut up and play. Like, especially with NIL and now everyone getting paid. Man, there's a lot more power. The money's changing hands. The power's changing hands a little bit. The dynamics changing in college football. We see it with conference realignment. We see it with NIL deals going on the table, recruiting. The advantages that are coming through that. So, I think it's a great time to be a college athlete right now, honestly. And coming from the years before where, you weren't allowed to get anything to now where we are, and it's just the start of it, and it's the wild, wild west. And maybe the market hasn't set itself yet. And so I think right now is a great time to be a college athlete.
I like how you said maybe the market hasn't set itself. The market hasn't done, it's open season. This is the NIL right now It is freewheeling and dealing. There are no rules. Let me ask you this, since you're working in NIL.
But there are rules. There's lots of rules now. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Hey,
Go
okay.
ahead. But I would say the biggest thing that's going on with NIL right now is like, how are these rules being enforced? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, how can you tell me that whatever amount of money I give to some athlete to come to whatever university isn't for marketing? I can spend, if I have a company, I can spend as much money as I want on my marketing.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing the NCAA can do about it. And I think that, like I said, the market hasn't set itself yet. So, what people are willing to pay today, is it going to be a good investment or a bad investment? If you got a guy who you're paying $9.5 million to, and he turns out to be an All-American, and that's worth way more than $9.5 million, that's a steal for the university. If you bring a national championship, that, whatever you're saying, 20 million, 30 million, that's chump change compared to the money you're bringing into the schools, honestly. So, and if you're a booster to put your name on that, absolutely. Now, I think there's two sides to NIL too, obviously. There's the college football, college basketball, top tier, maybe I would say the top 1 to 2% of athletes who are seriously getting substantial money. And then there's 100,000, 200,000 collegiate athletes across Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, JUCO, who are looking to use NIL as some sort of advantage, social media-wise, influencer-wise, whatever it may be, to monetize off. And I think that's the best thing about working with NIL and transitioning from being a football player to this business world, is that I'm dealing with so many different athletes, and there's so many different stories. And, seeing people get creative and, be themselves, and in turn be able to partner with national brands and make money off it. So, I mean, some of the video quality and just the stuff we do with these athletes is amazing. And to do that all in between a crazy schedule of practice games. I mean, we're working with these football guys right now. I understand they're in camp. But the dedication to just want to participate in these campaigns and these, monetize off their name. Everyone wants to do it. I think athletes now, the education standpoint is they're learning how to do it. And, like I said, great time to be a college athlete right now. So,
looking at, and what I mean by lack of rules, there's the collectives, right? So there's a booster couldn't give you $1, couldn't give you $500, couldn't give you $1 million. But now in Miami, Mario Cristobal, the new head coach, and just interviewed him for ACC Preview Week. So Mario Cristobal said in Miami, he actually said publicly, he said, hey, give to our collective. Put money in the collective. So, I mean, what a booster couldn't do in the past, now you can essentially open a bank account with the school, this collective, and just throw money in there. And let's say that they pool a bunch of people at Miami and they get $3 million in there. Then they say to Miami, you got $3 million to use this as you wish, which is going to be used in recruiting because it's not a business and it's not an NIL deal. It's just money. So are you for or against a collective of coach calling up saying, hey, we got $3 million in the collective, and, we can use this across all sports. We really like you. We're willing to give you $500,000 of this $3 million. What do you think? I mean, it's going to be used in recruiting. Do you like collectives? Okay. And what do you think about the recruiting side?
And it's so complex right now, right? Because it was nothing was prepared, right? This thing hit, it passed in legislation, and bam, it exploded. So absolutely, there's people who are doing it the wrong way. There's also, every university I could see just approaches their collectives in a different way. And that's really interesting as well. You know what I mean? Not University of Florida's collective is not the same as University of Miami. There's different collectives at different schools. You know what I mean? And just being behind the scenes and seeing that is, a lot of sometimes the collectives don't get along with the schools, and that's the main thing to understand, is that the collectives in part can have no relation to the school directly, right? So there can be no direct tie to some booster in the university. But everyone knows, and for years everyone's known that these boosters are, you know what I mean?
Giving money,
I mean?
Handshakes and money.
Man, whether it was back when SMU got the death penalty and they were pulling up in Chevelle's, or, you know what I mean, Terrell Pryor getting free tattoos and signing autographs, or Johnny Manziel said he made $10K. If Johnny Manziel,
can I say that the trade tattoo thing, why should that be a violation?
Well, it's not anymore, but it was.
But why should it be?
Listen,
because that's trade.
Listen, when I used to go, when I was at Syracuse, my first 3 years, and none of this NIL stuff had passed. We had compliance meetings, right? I don't know if you've dealt with compliance people. I deal with them all the time.
Yeah.
And the rules were so unbelievably strict. You think that's bad? They used to tell us, hey, if someone on the street wants to buy you a Chipotle burrito because they love SU and they recognize you, no, you're suspended. Done.
Going off your story.
Now you can get a Chipotle sponsorship.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here at Hooters. Shout out Hooters because they just signed 51 athletes to NIL deals, a bunch of offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Companies are realizing, hey, this is a smart marketing tool. College football players are very habitual, right? So if you get the offensive line from whatever university, I know they have Miami or UCF, and you get them to come in every single Monday, I mean, that's a great marketing tool for some free wings and some cash to tell the local community, hey, all these guys are going to be here. They eat here every Monday. Monday's their off day. I remember we used to have specific days like, hey, I'm going to Buffalo Wild Wings this day. Keep it pretty similar, schedule the same.
Yeah.
And, so I think it's awesome, man. Just the whole –
But what you said, Alec Lemon, who played receiver for Syracuse,
him
and I, like with you and like with a lot of guys, I build friendships, right? You guys go beyond football for me, and it's always been that way. So Alec and I he had finished up the season. It was between the end of his last season and going into the NFL draft, and we went out to grab lunch.
Yeah.
And we got paninis, and they were like $9.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I got you. He goes, no. Yeah. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you can't. And I was like, but you're done. He's like, I don't want to take any chances. He goes, you do not, same thing. You wouldn't believe this book and all this stuff. He's like, if you buy my sandwich, you're considered a booster. I was like, I'm just helping a friend out. He goes, wait until I get to the NFL, then we can have lunch. And I was like, that is insane.
Yeah.
But that's right what you said about Chipotle.
It's right. And shout out Alec because I met him a couple times when he came up to Syracuse. And, he did play in the NFL. But when was his most marketable time? You know what I mean? Was his marketability and visibility greater when he was at Syracuse or one of many in the NFL? You know what I mean? He was a star at Syracuse. I got a lot of friends right now who are, clawing on the back end of a roster. In those markets, you're not as big. Like if you're like the 53rd, 52nd man in Green Bay, you got Aaron Rodgers and 51 other guys who might be more marketable than you. You're not getting anything in those local areas.
Yeah.
But now in college, you know what I mean? I'm at Syracuse. There's big donors and big boosters and restaurant owners, car owners who want to work with these athletes. And part of it is a marketing play, especially locally. You get people, anytime money's involved, you know what I mean? You get people trying to get their hands in it and doing it the wrong way, and that will always happen. I think that's why there needs to be more. There needs to be more legislation. There needs to be more control.
Universal, not state by state.
Yeah, universal. Yeah. But I think that's the beautiful part about where we're at right now is because it kind of gives you like 1 or 2 years to kind of let this thing set itself out, right? Like let's see where the market is. You know what I mean? Are athletes really worth $9 million? Are they worth $5 million? Like I just got burned. Spent $8 million on a quarterback last year, and then he flamed out, and now I got to pay another $8 million. Is it worth it? What if I'm just really good at recruiting? And that's the interesting thing too about college football, college basketball, where sports where the collectives are involved, is that you get to see like how can you build a roster? You know what I mean? It's different from the NFL. As a GM in the NFL, you get to build your roster through drafts and through whatever you come, trades, capital. But college football now, you've got a certain dollar amount. What can you get for your roster? I mean, and the coaches go out and say it, right? Like Ryan Day was like, hey, a good quarterback is $3 million a year. After that, you know what I mean? The next expensive position, depending on where you're at, is probably a bookend tackle or a great pass rush in DNs. And then, if you're at a place like Miami, you can probably get better skill position players. So maybe you don't, you know what I mean? How do you manage this money? Where you're at geographically, and it's changing where we are in college recruiting, and it's changing where we are in college football. And it's an exciting time to be a college athlete. Shout out my guys making money and having a good time. And this upcoming season, here with my man DT previewing college football. I'm excited to get into some of my picks for the year. I definitely got some locks that I think I want to give out to guys.
Okay. All right.
Been following, as well as kind of talk about my favorite tight ends this year in college football. Some surprises for people, what I think might be the best tight end room, but absolutely, man.
All right. Well, there's a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. Jordan's going to join us here. One of the Hooters girls is going to have some rapid fire with us, and then you and I are going to jump into college football and start taking a look at the grand climate of everything and talk about that. So a lot of stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, live from iDrive. It is Hooters Week at 8801 International Drive in Orlando, Florida. College and pro football preview week coming up. More right after this fast break from inside of Hooters iDrive.
Go to the bathroom real quick. Where is it?
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
I wish we had honey. If we had honey, I would have stuck, one of the breakfasts in there. But we have nothing breakfasty here. Like Glasgow and stuff. They're like, what do you have for breakfast? I'm like, nothing.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah. So are you guys like, what is it? Is it?
It's like a rapid fire thing, so we're going to be talking about music, movies, all that.
Hey everyone, it's Sydney from iDrive in Orlando. We can't wait to welcome Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on site at 8801 International Drive in Orlando. Broadcasting live Monday, August 22nd through Friday, August 26th during our lunch each day from noon to 2 p.m. Come see us girls, hear from Dan and his special guests, and preview the college and NFL seasons from the greatest seat for all sporting events. Hooters iDrive in Orlando.
Basically anything I like.
Oh God. Well, what do you like? I'm curious.
We'll find out. All right. Back here inside of Hooters iDrive. Happy to be here with you where sports meets that thing called life. And obviously we're here for Hooters week. And we're here all throughout the week, Monday, August 22nd through Friday, August 26th. And we have awesome guest Aaron Hackett here with me today. And then we have some of the Hooters girls joining. And now you've gone to
Short black.
Yeah. Why? Why did you make a change?
A couple different reasons, honestly. I'm sure all the girls will understand being blonde is very expensive, especially when you have long hair and you have to get it done so frequently. So it was very, very expensive, and also my hair was very, very unhealthy being blonde. So this is more like natural.
Okay.
This is more like my natural hair color. You can tell from my eyebrows. So I just kind of wanted to go back to like natural for a while and grow it out and make it healthy.
So it wasn't like I'm angry at the world and I've gone black hair.
No, it wasn't like revenge, chop all my hair off, break up with my boyfriend type of new start, but it was fun.
Let me ask this because I want to know if this is true. Do women really do like the pink, the green, the blue hair when they're like mad about a relationship? Is that a true thing that they go like these crazy non-traditional colors?
I don't always think it's because of that. Sometimes people, I feel like, just want to, just spunk up their lives. They just need to change. It's kind of like that, midlife crisis, you have every single year.
Okay.
Where you're like, I need a change.
A midlife crisis every single year. I like that. That's cool.
But for me, I don't really do the funky colors, but I'll change it dramatically from blonde to black to red I've done before.
Okay.
I haven't really done like pink or anything like that, but I will change it like dramatically, or piercings. Like I'll get a nose piercing or ear piercing or something. Just go
change it up.
crazy. Yeah, just to change it up.
Okay, because during COVID, that's when I saw like the pink hairs, the purple hairs, the blue hairs, the green hairs, and I was like, there's a lot of angry women out there.
I think people are also getting so bored in their house too. I saw a lot of people cutting their own bangs and stuff. I saw a lot of those fails.
Oh yeah, people trying to cut their hat. Yeah, that's why we have a hat, and that's why I shave it, because I can't color this anything.
You can't mess it up then.
No, you just wake up and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So we talked about a lot of different things before. You are, and if you want to talk about it, it's cool, but you're like, you've done management here, and you have high aspirations that I think are really, really awesome. And when I came in here to do this last year for the first time at this location, I saw like the professionalism and your management side of things, because yeah, you're working on the floor, but you're also working behind the scenes. What got you interested in doing something like that?
I think that honestly, when I had originally started like my schooling, I was not going for anything related to this. But as I got the job here and started working in this environment, it kind of inspired me to go towards that path more.
Yeah.
And I had really good management and leaders when I first started too that I kind of looked up to. I saw how they did it, and I realized like it is more than just kind of like a serving job, at least to me. It's, you know, making sure people are happy, making sure people are taken care of when they're here, they're entertained, they're getting a once-in-a-lifetime type of experience. And I think that's what really, like, made me want to get more into the behind-the-scenes, like how to make other people's experiences or moments magical, you know, from a different standpoint.
Yeah, because you're in the home of magic, right? Orlando. And literally with the Orlando Magic, you have Disney. A few minutes down the road, you have SeaWorld, you have Universal. I think I'm allowed to say them all in the same sentence if I'm not working at any of them. But, I mean, this is, at least to me, the amusement capital of the country.
Yeah.
So what's it like to be in that all the time? Because people that come to Orlando constantly want to be entertained. Is it like overbearing at all?
I wouldn't say it's overbearing. I think it's really fun. But this is kind of where the management side plays in. So when I am on the floor working as a Hooters girl, it is a lot of like giving personality and making sure people have those moments front of house.
Yeah.
And then when I'm in management, it's kind of making sure they have it from the behind the scenes. So like sometimes I'll be in the kitchen, you know, making sure food comes out to perfection. Sometimes I'll be doing the numbers or, you know, crunching numbers for, you know, sales and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool that I get to play those two different roles. I don't always have to be front of house, giving that personality, giving that energy. I can kind of chill in the back of the house for a little bit.
So do you get to pick your days, or you're just like, I don't want to be spunky today. I want to go in the back. I want to be left alone. I want to work on the foods. All right.
I do have set days that I'm on the bar.
Okay.
But my management schedule is up to my managers, so no, I just kind of get the luck of the draw on that.
So have you come in and had one of those days where you're like, God, I just want to like go in the back and work on numbers?
I have.
Okay.
And I've had it vice versa too, where I've been only doing management shifts and I'm like, geez, I just want to talk to some people. I just want to go out there and bartend for a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I like doing both.
The art of the bartender. Met a lot of different bartenders in different parts of the country. What is your specific spin on it? Do you have like a Jordan way?
I think this is kind of with all bars. I just like to kind of hang at my bar. I like to chill. Like, you're like a friend hanging out with me. I'm not really super, I don't know, like I'd say like,
yeah,
can I get you this? I'm just like, hey, you know, like, let me throw a piece of paper at you. You'll throw it back or whatever. We'll like, you know, I've made paper airplanes and stuff. I guess I just like to have fun. But also, like, when it comes to making the drinks, there is like a perfection to that, like mixology and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because you want your guests
to be. It used to be a TV show on ABC. I don't think anybody watched it but me. But yeah.
Mixology?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It was one season.
Oh, that's sad.
It was about like one night in the bar, and they did a whole season about all these different angles and these different tables and who was trying to meet each other and who was talking and who ends up together after all these episodes.
Oh.
So it was like a really cool thing, but it was set as like one night.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And every single episode was of that one night?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
It was about like living in that world. I think it might be on Netflix. Most things are on Netflix now.
Yeah, everything's on Netflix.
So, favorite drink to make? That's okay. I'm gonna give you like this is a 2-part question. So, favorite drink to make that you like, and I like sweet stuff that doesn't taste like alcohol. So, what's the sweetest, best one to make?
So if we're just talking about like our Hooters drinks, let's just say.
Yeah.
Favorite drink to make, I would say, is probably a pink passion or like some kind of like our hurricane or something, just because we spindle in it makes it all frothy and super just pretty looking.
Okay.
So it's just fun to make. Favorite one to drink, it's called the Beach Retreat. It has strawberry in it, and then it has coconut Red Bull.
Okay.
It is
Coconut Red
so
Bull.
good.
I didn't
Yes,
even know about
I
coconut Red Bull.
love drinking it. It's so good. Yes.
Okay. So that would be this. That would also be the sweet one.
The sweet one,
That I
yeah.
would drink,
It's like
okay.
strawberry and coconut Red Bull and Malibu and stuff. So it'd be right up your alley.
So I don't really drink that much alcohol, and I love strawberry daiquiris and pina coladas, and I always mix them. And so for years, people were making fun of me, talking to me about like, do you put an umbrella in it? And I was like, actually, I do collect all the umbrellas. I take all the colors and I bring them home. So, but I would get the umbrella in the drink, and people would mess with me about why would I choose such a thing. And then I found out that it's called a Miami Vice when
Yeah.
you mix the two, and I was like, if I had known that it's called a Miami Vice back then, that's so much cooler.
Yeah, you would
than
have just told
being
everyone like, I'm getting a Miami Vice.
yeah.
Like,
When I'm down in Florida, the guy goes, "Oh, you want a Miami Vice?" And I was like, how many years did I have to deal with the abuse until you just call it, because Bookham, like, oh no, that's Hawaii 5-0 with Bookham Dano. But Miami Vice is, you wear the white pants, you got the Hawaiian shirt on, you go to a wedding like that.
and they're supposed to be split too. It's supposed to be like the pina colada on one side and then like the daiquiri on the other side.
Yeah, and I would have loved if I knew that name back in the day. So that's the actual name.
You would have had a comeback, yeah.
Yeah, I would have been like, it's a Miami Vice. Why don't you watch the show and
Suck
shut your
it.
mouth? Yeah.
But no matter what you do, you'll always be a snowbird. So I'm sorry, man.
Yes, I am
Coming
a
down here to Florida
I am a
for your
snowbird.
vacation.
I am a snowbird, but I come down all the time, and I've been down more in June, July, and August,
Those are the
which
hottest months.
which is like nuts for people. When I was in Kissimmee, they're like, "Why would you do that to yourself?" But I go to Disney on days like this. It was 97 yesterday, and I was at Hollywood Studios,
Oh my goodness.
and it rains every time I go to Hollywood Studios. It rains, I think, every trip. Every time I've been to Hollywood Studios in the last like 3 trips, it's rained when I'm there.
Is
Florida in
it
the
terribly
summer, that's
busy
what it is,
during
yeah.
during that heat?
I can tell from June to July to now, I can tell that it's getting less busy. And what I love, there's some people that won't go places by themselves. I'm an only child. So I have no problem going to Disney by myself. And they're like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, because guess what? If I want to go on a ride,
can do
no
what
one's
you want,
stopping me."
yeah.
And on top of that, when I go, there's the single rider line. So when everyone's waiting 65 minutes, I waited 7 minutes
10
yesterday.
minutes and out,
Yeah, I'm in and out of the ride.
No fast pass. No
Keep
nothing.
going on. I don't need any of that. So I like going to Disney with that. And if you're going to go to Disney with somebody, you have to make sure that they appreciate it like you appreciate it, or it's not worth it. So
Yeah.
do you go being 5 minutes away?
You know, I don't
She's gonna tell me she
go
never
as
goes.
often as I wish I could go.
Do you like to go?
I do like to go. I do genuinely enjoy Disney.
you're
And
not
I
a
wish I
Disney
could go
hater.
more. And being from Orlando, I should have some kind of a pass, right? But I don't.
I have a pass because I go way too much.
Yeah,
It's inappropriate.
I don't. I haven't even been to like the Pandora when that came out a couple years, like 4 or 5 years ago. I haven't even been there. I've heard
Do you want me
it's
to bring
super
you back
cool.
on camera?
I need, yeah.
You want to hang out back on camera?
Yeah.
Let's
Get you back in here.
Yeah, let's get him back in. Let's move you over here. Let's bring Aaron
Sorry, I
back
had
on.
to take a short little break.
You can hear his voice, but you couldn't see him. So
Short little break.
yeah. So okay. So I want to get into Disney for a second. So you haven't been to Pandora,
I have not.
which means that you haven't been to Star Wars.
Galaxy's Edge.
You haven't been to
Nope.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nope.
So
None of it.
I'm going to describe the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Spoiler alert for all you out there. I'm sorry, but the ride is like. Do you like roller coasters?
Love them, yeah.
Roller coasters.
Hit or miss, depends where I'm at. I like Universal, not so much Disney.
Okay. Well, my favorite's Expedition Everest. It's always been my favorite, forward and backward. Well, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Animal Kingdom, right?
Yes. So Guardians puts you in a place where you're like, you have this IMAX thing around you of all this stuff going on screen, and I always sit in the front row. I have to sit in the front row. So I'm in the front row, and you go backward, and you look at everything, and you're watching the screen, and there's stuff happening on the screen that's affecting you. Then you're flying backwards. You think you're going to go upside down. You don't. But then as you go, and you're sitting in a car, you think we go forward and backward.
Yeah.
You actually go forward, backward, side to side. So, like, if you and I were sitting in the front row, we would turn toward the screen, and the people behind us would turn the other way.
Okay.
And so you're going through this thing, turning in all these
That's
directions, and they're like, it may disorient you, so don't look around. I'm a child. I look everywhere. And I got off the ride, and it was so
Sick,
smooth.
yeah. Really?
And, like, they have 6 different songs right now. So when you go on, you can get a different song.
Oh, cool.
So, and it's like...
kind of like that Rip Ride Rocket one where you
Yeah,
play
Universal,
songs
yeah.
But that one I
remember
thought I was
that
going
one.
to die on that. I thought I was
Rip Ride
going to
Rocket.
lose my life on that. Because when you go, you're like
Goes,
on
like,
the top of
straight
it,
down,
and you're
yeah.
straight up.
Yeah.
And you're just like waiting, and your brain's going, this isn't normal. to
Oh
be
yeah, like the
this whole
slow
time.
track up.
Oh, yeah.
And you go up, and I
Horrible.
remember years ago when we went, one of the people in our group was like afraid of going on the roller coasters, and they're like, Dan, do you think we're going to die? And I was like, probably not. And they're like, what do you mean probably? I said, well, I didn't make the ride, so I can't tell you
Can't
for
guarantee it.
sure, but no one's died that I know of.
Thus far.
but I'll go to Universal a couple times, but then I have to get away from it. I love Disney, but the Guardians ride, there is nothing more smooth, and like you're just like ebbing and flowing through the whole thing, and when it ends, like it'll be your favorite ride you've ever
Let me
done.
ask, is it kind of like one like how the Spider-Man was, or more like how Harry Potter is,
where it's like
on
fake,
a conveyor
yeah,
belt?
yeah.
Yeah, so you're on a track, you're on a roller
Okay,
coaster
okay,
track, and you're going, but there's
It's
this
indoor though.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's this like IMAX thing around
That's
you.
cool.
So there's a thing trying to like grab at you, and you're like moving,
away
and you
from
go
it.
up, and then you come back.
That's cool.
And then you start to like spin.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, well, you don't like spin, but you're like going around
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
It's I can honestly say that for everything that people are afraid that it is, I don't think it bothers you. I think
Okay.
like if you have motion sickness, you probably would have a worse time on Space Mountain for some reason, and I don't know why. I don't know if this is a guy thing and not a girl thing, because I'll ask girls that have been on it, does it hurt you? No. It
No.
punches into you when you're a
Space
guy.
Mountain, really?
And if you're in the front, it's so
'Cause it,
rickety,
like,
and
yeah,
it hits
it's
and
so
it hits.
fast.
And I'm literally like, so people are screaming and cheering, and I'm
Ow.
swearing. I'm like, ow, ow. And I was saying stuff, and I was like, does anybody feel like bruised on their hips when they get off this ride? So Space Mountain I could do without.
So I love Space Mountain. See, that doesn't bother me, but
Because
the
I don't know what
motion
it is.
sickness though, I'll get that from the teacups.
I will not
like-
ride the teacup.
Teacups,
I
like
can't
at
do
the,
the
at the
teacups.
fair, yeah.
Those are like
No, because that's the thing. People like, you go on all these crazy roller coasters and you're dangling and this and that, but you won't go on the teacups. Except because the teacups are spinning. And I was 10 years old. I went with my mom, and we were like, "Oh, it's not going fast enough." So we started to turn it, and then we went nuts, crazy. And I'll never forget. We both came off. She went on one bench, I went on the other, and laid flat on the bench because I couldn't stop spinning.
yeah, the teacups, those mess me up.
Yeah, there's people that like won't go on Dumbo because it goes around in a circle, and like people get disoriented looking the whole time. So
That's
it's-
the worst. That's
it's
the worst,
weird what
man.
affects people.
It's funny because that's like a punishment in football, is that, you know, they can make you run as much as you want, but the hardest punishment is when you get on your stomach and you just start rolling. You got to roll the
Oh,
whole field,
really?
and you get up and you're so disoriented,
Yeah.
and it makes you sick to your stomach. So I'm with you. I'm staying away from the teacups for sure. Never.
So, you both haven't been in a while, but I have to ask this. So, favorite Disney ride when you do go, and same.
What is because I honestly, I haven't been to Disney since I was like 9 or 10 years old. But I always used to go to Universal because like I grew up in Venice, so we're only like 2 hours. So
Okay.
our field trips, we'd go to Universal. What is it's like the water ride with the
That's
wood-
the one I was gonna say.
which one is
Splash
it?
Mountain.
Splash Mountain.
Yes.
Mountain. I
Which
got a
they are
picture of
now
my whole
changing-
family in
they're-
Splash Mountain when I'm a little kid. I'm
I
going
love
crazy.
Splash Mountain.
And
That's
they're
my
changing
favorite.
it now.
Why?
They're changing it. It might be. It
I
might
mean,
be a
it's
safety
the same
risk.
song.
It's
Skip
becoming
Betty
Tiana's.
Doo-dah, Skip Betty Day.
It's Tiana now from Princess and the Frog.
Oh, okay.
So, but they kept saying they were closing it, and then it was still open, so I kept riding as much as I possibly could. There's a part of it, though, where apparently the guy that helped make the ride, there's like a little weasel thing that pops down from the ceiling, and you think he makes a noise. He actually says FSU.
Oh, really?
For Florida State, yeah. So there's like
Well,
that.
I don't like it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Yeah, he says FSU.
That part's
and then it
out.
goes away.
That part's out.
But no, Splash, I didn't go on that until later in my life because it was crazy busy whenever we would go. But roller coaster wise, I'm just.
See, when I was younger, since we lived right here, my parents, they would just like let us skip school for a day. They were super cool. And they would take us to Disney. They would trick us. They'd be like, okay, yeah, we're going to school. And they would take us to Disney. And there would be my
Parents
mom.
would trick you and bring you to Disney.
Right?
Now
that's a
parents trick
Florida-
you
I
and they
think
bring you to
that's a-
Home Depot because they want to paint.
I think that's a Florida kid thing because my
Yeah.
mom did
I
that when
know,
I was a
must
kid
have
too.
been.
She
My
surprised
dad's like,
me
get in
to
the
like.
car, we
I'm
might get
so
ice cream.
spoiled.
And we went to Home Depot
Busch
so we
Gardens,
could build
yeah.
stuff.
So we could, oh, that's a real trick. That's a mean trick.
I was like, I'm not doing any of this. So just leave me at Home Depot. I'll walk home.
Oh my gosh.
So your parents used to trick you into going to Disney. You poor
They
soul.
would. No, I mean, they would just want to like surprise us. So we'd get there, but they don't ride roller coasters. So they would let us just go, on, the single riders line or whatever, since it was just me and my brother.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this one day, the single riders line, like you were saying, was like 5 minutes long. Me and my brother, we would run up to Splash Mountain, ride Splash Mountain, get soaking wet, and then run next door to the Thunder Mountain one and ride that and get all dried off. And we did that like probably 10, 15 times, like between the two.
It's awesome. It's an awesome place to go.
I love Splash Mountain.
So, but Magic Kingdom has now become like my fourth favorite out of the four because Hollywood's got Star Wars now, and I mean
there's
Animal
like
Kingdom's got plenty of stuff.
Everest
They have
and
Pandora. Can't believe neither one of you have been to Pandora. So okay. I want to tell people this right now. Don't waste your time. There's a good Pandora and there's a bad Pandora. So when you walk in, Flight of Passage will change your life. The Navi River journey will make you question why you stood in line that long. And I know I saw the line like crazy during COVID. I looked at all the people. I go, "You poor souls! You guys they must have never been on the ride.
Yeah.
Because if you've been on the ride, you will
Wouldn't
not wait
go
in line.
again.
No, like it's
Even
such
at
a
night,
slow-
I heard Pandora's better at night.
beautiful at night, but the ride through the water, like you're sitting in this canoe on the ride. I mean, you could legitimately bring your Hooters wings and a beer and drink it and eat it on this ride because you're not moving that fast. You're not like nothing's happening.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, bring your Hooters stuff. Get all your stuff here now. Get over to it. Navi River journey. Don't worry, it'll be about a 15-minute wait, unless a bunch of people come from Brazil that have never been on the ride before, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is gonna be great." And those people, I don't want to tell them not to, because then they'll go to Flight of Passage and they'll make the wait longer. So I'm like, no, you guys go on this ride. I'm gonna go here.
It's for your own benefit.
Yeah.
Evil.
Yeah, but so we're gonna play rapid fire, and we're gonna go this way and then back.
Okay.
So we all get to ask questions to each other. So we're gonna have some fun with this.
All right, that's
So
fine. Yes.
I get
yeah.
to start this off to ask you a question, Jordan. Okay. We got to know each other last year from like day one, so I should know some things here. Let me see. I don't know if we've talked about music before.
I don't know.
So, 3 songs you couldn't live without.
Couldn't live without. Jeez. Okay. Oh, this is so hard. My music, my favorite songs are always changing.
Yeah.
But right now, I really am into this one song called Serotonin.
Okay.
It's by, I think his name's Nick, like N-I-C.
Okay.
It's just a bop. I've had it on repeat for literally like a week now.
Okay.
The second one, probably like some kind of an old, like Queen song or something. Like either like Don't Stop Me Now or like Somebody to Love or something. I love Queen. And then the third one, would have to be something like R&B. I like PJ Morton a lot. I don't know if you know who that is, but he is a really like smooth
Now?
R&B singer. Yeah.
Okay. My R&B is like I go back. I was listening to Montel Jordan on the way here.
Okay.
I got some good ones on the way here. So Boys to Men. So when I was working at Disney.
Like throwback.
Yeah. When I was working, well, they're still doing it. But when I was working at Disney, Boys to Men came to the restaurant that I was running.
That's cool.
And I just walked, and you're not allowed to talk to them when you're in Disney attire.
Oh, really?
So I was walking back and forth because it was Wanye and Nathan, and then Sean wasn't there. Michael's not a part of the group anymore. So I brought, there's a place to bring the silverware, and there's a place in the front. I just kept taking the same box and walking back and forth just so I could stare at them. And then at one point, I caught myself standing in the middle of the dining room, and it's dark like a drive-in, and I was just looking at them, and I went, I probably should move. This has been about 10 minutes. I probably look like a total creeper. Yeah. But I was just like looking at him like, this isn't real. Like, he's not here because I've sang my whole life.
Yeah.
And I based testing my voice and the limits of my voice on their music.
So when you work for Disney, you can't like approach any celebrities if you're in costume?
I can't be like, can I take a picture with you? Can I have an
Really?
autograph?
Oh my god.
I can be nice to them.
Yeah.
But there was a lady.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lady that worked and I wasn't here that day, but there was an older lady that worked with us, and Joey Fatone came in, and we get the names, and we had to say now parking and read the name off, and she kept reading off Joey Fat One, and instead of Fatone, and she's going up and down this thing, and she had no idea who he was. Now, I kind of found out that in some instances he wasn't the nicest to people, so now I'm okay with the fact that she did it. But, he was in NSYNC, and I don't know if he ever sang.
I know he goes downtown a lot. I know.
He's still here, right?
Yeah. I know people see him downtown a lot.
Another reason why
cool.
I don't want to go down.
We had Lee Bryce in here a few months ago, which was really cool. He came in to eat, and I am a huge country fan. Like, I love country music. I go line dancing every Thursday type of country music.
There's a place in Orlando. What is it called?
The one that I go to is called Cowboys.
I want to say, is that like on the same road that the jail's on?
OBT?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I went there years ago, right? People
That's
line
hilarious.
dance to rap songs.
Yeah.
And they all know it. I walked in there with my buddy Jason, who's going to be here on Thursday, and every song that came on, people got
There was
out
a
like a
dance
flash
to.
mob, and they're
Yeah.
dancing to it. And I'm looking at
Welcome
them.
to Florida, man. Yeah.
I'm like, am I the
that's
only person that doesn't know what the hell I'm doing?
Yeah.
So I'm out there, like Notorious B.I.G. comes on, and everybody's doing this, like, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
You
Nobody
feel
was-
like, how do I not know this?
Yeah. And the thing is, everybody's talking on the dance floor. Song comes on, they all turn, and they do this whole thing, like 50 people, and I'm going, dude, why didn't you teach me the steps before I got here? Because then he's doing it, and I'm going, well, and when you're a single man in society and you walk into a place like that, I'm like, these women probably think that I don't know how to dance because I'm standing here.
Next
But
to you,
I don't
who
wanna
knows
look
the
I want to
moves.
look like an idiot. I was like, just show me what to do. I've line danced before,
Yeah.
but, I need to know
You
the
need
steps.
a little tune-up, yeah.
I'm Hispanic and Italian.
A little rusty.
I'm
So you
hip.
can
I'm
get
hip
it.
music. I'm
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
kick. You know what I mean? So, but I have been to Cowboys.
Yeah, I know it's been around for a long, long time. I've been going there.
And
for
you know
probably
all
like,
the.
Oh, I know all of them. Yeah. I know like the advanced ones, like every
know the
single song,
advanced
like
one?
advanced. Yeah, not just like the watermelon crawl and like the Cupid shuffle. I can do like.
You won't catch me out there. No way. No way.
So
No way. I'm too far behind now. I need some practice.
that's
first,
my
some
thing
lessons.
though. Is that
But I mean, I feel like dancing's kind of like football.
Yeah, I guess.
Football's
and
like a
ballet?
dance.
Ballet helps football.
Yeah,
Yeah, ballet definitely
Yeah.
helps with their balance. My mom actually owns a bar studio, so it's like similar
Okay.
to those movements, but
Yeah.
line dance is a whole separate subject.
The
I don't think those are the
karaokes
same.
and the grapevine.
I
Yeah,
finally
maybe.
figured out how to do it though, but not there.
No.
There is too much.
The pressure's on you,
Like,
DT,
yeah,
man.
well, that's the thing. I'm like, somebody teach me. Like,
Yeah.
off camera, Jordan, can you teach me a couple of these lines?
Of course,
Okay.
whenever, yes.
I need to know a few
But
of these.
after this, the rest of the week, yeah, I got you.
Okay,
I will
alright.
be your line dance instructor.
I'm going to be getting here early so nobody can see me. I'm going to be doing my thing. But I'm like, Notorious music, really? Like, that's... it wasn't just the
Welcome
country
to Florida,
songs.
man.
Yeah.
they,
You know
we
what
got
I mean?
it all
I'm
down
like,
here.
when a country song comes on, that makes sense. But then, like, when Lil Wayne comes on, or Yin Yang Twins, I'm like, the Yin Yang Twins didn't do line dancing. Let's just
hell
stop that.
no, yeah.
From the window to the... No, that's not a line dance.
I mean, but they have like those crossover,
the
like
remix.
the crossovers, like Morgan Wallen, like Lil Durk,
Yeah.
you know,
that's
and
a
stuff
good
like
one.
that. So they have like those little like crossovers now, the rap country.
It's new age, man. It's new
Yeah.
style of
A
music.
lot of
yeah.
people like Morgan Wallen,
I
sold
love
out
Morgan
concerts.
Wallen.
Old Town
Love
Road,
him.
like that was a hit. Like
Yeah.
they're all trying to mix the genre. I don't know.
Yeah, it's there. It's
Old Town
definitely there.
Old Town Road.
So, okay, so that was mine. You can ask Aaron now.
Oh, okay. If you could go see one movie right now, what would it be? It could be any movie.
Any
Doesn't
movie?
have to be anything.
Well, I'm behind. See, I'm one of probably the few people who hasn't seen the new Top Gun, so I have to say that.
Okay.
But I don't really
haven't
go.
either.
Yeah, I don't really go to movie theaters unless it's like the lounge ones. You know, they bring you dinner. The Cinebistro.
The only
Have
ones
you
that
ever
are
been
here
there?
now.
Yeah. Oh,
I've
I
been
love
to
that.
the
What a
AMC.
night.
down here.
Yeah,
I
same.
love the AMC.
Yeah, best thing. So I had to say Top Gun for sure.
Top Gun. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that either, actually.
Yeah.
I just saw the first Top Gun a couple months ago because I had never watched the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a classic.
I really
guess.
like it. I mean, it was
The
really,
new one,
really good.
They said the new one's just as good. So
Everybody's talking
yeah,
about the
people
new
have been
one.
bugging me to see it.
everyone.
I just haven't had the time. So maybe
I've seen some
knock that off the
weird
bucket list.
movies recently because I'll just go on like a Tuesday when it's like $5, whatever. I'll go.
That's cool that they do that now.
Yeah, and I'll do it like just to. But I mean, there's some movies that I'm like, why? Why
Yeah,
did
man,
I?
I can't do that.
why
It's
did
gonna
I
be
do
on
that?
Netflix in a couple of months,
Yeah.
couple of weeks,
Yeah.
but
I
they're
will
for the
s-
experience. Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder,
Oh man,
the trashiest Marvel movie ever.
Yeah.
Worst Marvel movie I've seen in my
Really?
life.
can't do it.
It was awful. I don't know if you've ever seen any of them. It sucked.
I've seen Marvel movies. I didn't see that one specifically. No.
Don't ever waste your time on that movie. All right, Aaron, you get to ask me.
Unfortunately.
All right, man. Well, so you're Syracuse. Obviously, that's your main. That's home base for you.
Yeah,
Most
Syracuse
times.
is my home. I was born and raised.
Yeah. Okay. So
Call
I'm
me
a-
a snowbird when I come down here in August.
There's been a lot of discussion, man. Been a lot of discussion with people up in Syracuse. I'm from Florida. I love a good Florida barbecue.
Uh-huh.
People up there say dinosaur's the best.
No. No.
What is the best barbecue in not just Syracuse but upstate New York? And can it hang with Florida and Texas? Because down south we barbecue all year long.
Yeah.
We'll pull the smoker out on Christmas and cook us some food. So you can't do that up there. You guys lack practice time.
So here's my thing. So I like to cook, and I'll cook in any situation. So I trust my food, but up north, dinosaur barbecue, I'm sorry, it's not the best. It's not. The bigger they've gotten, the more they've lost who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that, like, as I build my company, it's important to me. My company just turned 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's imperative to me to build something and never lose the quality of what you've built. I think dinosaur, I mean, their brisket, it was like mostly fat, 2 little tiny thin slabs. It was more bread than brisket. So I would say the ones that do it the best, if I had to pick a place up there, is Limp Lizard. Because they have jalapeno cornbread.
Yeah.
And there's some good places, but like you have to do brisket right for me.
Yeah.
I've never tried it, but you gotta like let it sit for like a day and a half. Like you just
Yeah.
gotta let it
It's
be what
just
it is.
different. It's the barbecue up there was completely different from what I'm used to in
Yeah.
the South. You know what I mean?
They also
I'm
don't
used to-
have sweet tea up there.
Yeah. Oh, you go. That was honestly that was the weirdest like transition of being a Florida boy and going all the way up to upstate New York.
Cracker Barrel's the only place that has it.
Sweet tea people have no
McDonald's.
ideas what it is. McDonald's is
McDonald's
gonna be
has
consistent.
McDonald's is murder you tea.
That's what. Okay,
McDonald's
the
is
first
like try to kill
time-
yourself,
The
too.
first time I went to New York, I went to some restaurant. I ordered a sweet tea, and they brought me some like brisk Arizona thing. And
Yeah, when they
from-
tell you sweet tea, it's unsweet regular or it's raspberry sweet.
So yeah, they brought me some. Yeah, it was like
A
raspberry
can.
or can. No, it wasn't even a can. It was like out of a fountain, but it was like brisk.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
That's very sweet.
Like, do you guys have like real sweet tea? And they were like,
Yeah.
this is real sweet tea. I was like,
it's
oh
not.
no.
You gotta make it.
I had to go to McDonald's that whole weekend if I wanted sweet tea.
Yeah, McDonald's to me, that sweet tea makes me want to not get out of bed. I don't know what it is
so
about.
sugary.
Makes me want to have a Hooters sweet tea. Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
the Arnold Palmer here. This is
Ooh.
all I drink here.
Yeah, the
But you got to
lemonade's
do it
good.
right. And so from last year. But like, if one of the new girls comes up or something like that, she's like, "Do you want it with unsweet tea and lemonade or sweet tea?" And I was like, "It's always sweet when it comes. I want sweet on sweet. That's what I want. Sweet everything."
Yeah.
And the sweet tea here is insane.
The McDonald's and the Publix is like super, super sugary.
I think the one that McDonald's has, I think it's like laced with something because I always feel really weird when I
I
get out
would
of there.
believe that.
Yeah.
I would not put that past them.
But don't put blasphemy on Publix. Don't know because
I like Publix. I just went to Publix on the way here.
Publix will take down Wegmans any day of the week.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Publix is
and
good.
and from up north, I know
No.
people. My parents,
Chicken
my folks-
tender sub.
Yeah, here. Hey, my
Pub.
people up in Syracuse, please. This is the good word.
No.
Publix chicken tender sub, you're gonna save yourself half the
Chicken tender
price.
sub.
Is a
I
staple
made
down
my
here.
own chicken tender sub
It's-
from Publix, but I put croutons on top of them. I got.
They'll
beer
do it
one
all
day.
for you. They'll do it all for you, man.
No, the
Publix.
chicken tender sub is good,
It's elite.
but have you
elite.
had Wegmans?
No.
You cannot touch Wegmans.
It is.
I will fight
Is
you
that
to
an
the
up
death.
north thing?
It's
It is,
the
it is,
closest
yeah.
thing to Wegmans is Publix. Publix is more expensive, but Wegmans, everything that they make that's their own,
Yeah.
their milk, like everything they have, it's great. They're like Virginia baked ham. Everything that they have at Wegmans is insanely good, and Publix is close. But like Walmart, if you go to Walmart, that like their lunch meat, it's dead that day. If you
Yeah.
buy turkey at 1 o'clock, by 3 p.m. it's
I was gonna say I don't shop at Walmart.
Yeah.
I did do my shopping at Tops a little bit in Syracuse, and a lot of Wegmans when I started kind of getting more comfortable with the area up
Wegmans
there.
has the produce. And all
But
that, yeah.
I mean, I can't lie to you, man. Anytime I'm coming down here, whenever I break Publix chicken tender sub, that was like top 3 things I'm getting when I get home. You know what I
I
mean?
love the
I'm
chicken
going to
tender
the beach. I'm getting Publix sweet tea and the chicken tender sub, and
Probably all on the same day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna bring it to the beach, and no one's calling me. Go for a swim, man. So I gotta argue with you, man.
Wegmans, Publix,
It's-
everybody else.
Guys, if you don't know,
Big deal.
you don't know, but come down here and check it out.
It's all right. It's not Wegmans.
It's tough,
You should
man.
like put a poll
But
up.
you know what the
Oh, everybody's gonna pick Wegmans.
you know what the issue
He's
is?
gonna get completely
I'm
annihilated.
gonna get
by this.
annihilated. But the issue with the chicken tender sub is there's an art to it, right? So people don't know how to order it. So you might just go in there. You don't know how to get it tossed with the buffalo
Yeah,
and
you
the
get the
ranch,
buffalo,
smoked
yeah.
Gouda cheese. You know, you got to get your
Toasted.
veggies on last. Yeah, toast it, and then
I
you
have
get
to
the
ask this
veggies.
question though. So you put the buffalo sauce on it, right? Can I ask this? Why do you like buffalo sauce? Why do 99.9% of women only like chicken tenders in buffalo sauce? Can you tell me why?
Oh, and ranch. Like you cannot
but
forget about
rolled
the
in the
ranch.
buffalo. I like a chicken tender that's like crispy and like peppery good, and I want to dunk it myself. But it's like a buffalo sauce. Is that like a universal female thing?
I mean,
Think about all
I
your friends.
definitely, I know. I think a lot of the girls here will get it on the side. They get their sauce on the side. I like it all wet and tossed and everything.
So
but
you like the buffalo.
That's just me. I know a lot of the girls actually get their sauce on the side here.
Okay.
But
All right.
they might be more like you. I don't know where they're from, but maybe from up north.
From up north. Yeah. I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick.
Wow.
You guys
Okay.
finish up.
So we'll take the question. Okay. So now you can ask me. We'll go back and forth in Aaron's absence.
Okay, so I don't really know anything much about your personal life. Like at home, do you have any pets?
I do.
Have you ever had any pets?
Yeah.
Okay, and what was your favorite pet? Your favorite type of pet? Like cat, dog, fish, like what have you had?
Okay, I'm gonna be real with people here. If you have a cat, God bless you, but they're not dogs. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't like.
They want their own space.
Yeah, I was like, if you want a cat, you're kind of probably committed to a relationship where someone loves you 1 minute and then like doesn't talk to you and like ghosts you the next minute. Like you're probably in a relationship where like you break up every 3rd week. Those are cat people. If you're a dog person, you're committed. So
Dogs are a lot, yeah.
yeah, so I have had dogs my whole life.
Okay.
And so I had my first 2 dogs were Lhasa Terriers. They're a mix, they're brother and sister.
Aww.
And
You got them both at the same time?
yeah, my parents got them 3 years before I was born.
Okay.
And then I got to name Shady. If it was a boy, I was gonna name him Shadow from Homeward Bound. And I named her Shady, and she is a soft-coated Wheaten Terrier.
Okay.
And so all 3 of them were like 30, 40 pounds.
Smaller.
Now, and I never thought I'd have a small dog, but I have a small dog.
Do you have a small dog?
I do. Her name is Lily,
Aww.
and I gotta find a picture of me and Lily.
What kind?
She is a Havanese, so she is.
Oh my gosh, she looks like a toy.
She's little. She's 10 pounds.
So cute. Oh, you have to show
Yeah.
them.
So this
oh
is
my gosh.
this is Lily. If you can see her, there she is. That's
Aw.
Lily, the babe. So
She looks like a little teddy bear.
yeah. So she's like really fluffy, and So when I went to go look for a dog, it took a couple of years after Shady passed. I couldn't even like think about it.
Yeah.
And then I went out one day to a place called Dan's Kennels, ironically. And I was like, whatever, I'll go to this place. And I met, I went into the room and there was 40 some odd dogs. And it was like, well, which one do you choose? And something in my head said, look for the ones that aren't barking. And there were 8.
That weren't barking?
Only 8 of these like 40 whatever dogs. So 2 per kennel, and I see Lily, and I wanted a dog that was Technicolored, and she looked at me and she grabbed onto the cage and she pulled and she looked, and I said, can I see her? And I thought she was a Wheaton like Shady, so I picked her up, she grabbed onto my shoulder, she licked my neck, and then I had her in a playpen, and I had to talk to the owner, and I got out of the playpen, and right when I was taking like my last part of my body and I put my foot down, she cried like crazy.
Oh, and then so she was yours at that point.
And then she held me the whole way home, and I was trying to come up with names, and then 3 times I said to her, I was like, do you want to be Lily? And she'd look up at me. So
Aww.
she kind of chose her own.
She chose her own. Have you ever seen like the videos of the TikToks or whatever, where people will set out the collars and they'll let the puppies choose?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they'll set out like a yellow collar, a green collar, a blue collar, and then they'll put a puppy in whatever the collar they go to, that'll be theirs, or that'll be their name or whatever.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you back here, dog or cat person, now that I've given that wonderful analogy.
So
She's going to say cat.
I actually, at the moment, I don't have either.
Okay.
I have had in the past dogs with my parents. I currently have fish, actually, and those are my pride and joy right now.
What kind of fish?
I have 2 clownfish and I have a blue striped pipefish.
Okay.
So I have a little 20-gallon saltwater aquarium, and I love growing corals and I love taking care of them. With school and with work and everything, I don't have a whole lot of time. So like a furry animal is just not ideal for me at the moment. But the fish, they're phenomenal. They're great.
So what are the names of the fish?
Okay, so if I have my phone, I can show you. On my they have an Instagram. If you want to follow it, it's our Nano Reef.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yes, they're so cute.
So your fish have their own.
They
Instagram.
have their own Instagram. Yes.
I guess Lily should have her own Instagram. What is it called?
It's called our Nano Reef. So it's like OUR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like our
Nano
Reef. REEF. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
So you can see pictures of, we have Pumpkin and Patches. That one's Pumpkin.
Okay.
So like the little Nemo looking one, and then we have Patches.
Pumpkin and Patches. Okay.
They're so cute. And then let me see if I can find a picture of the other little guy. His name is Ollie. He's a blue striped pipefish.
Ollie. Okay. Pumpkin, Patches, and Ollie.
Yeah, Pumpkin, Patches, and Ollie.
What was like? Why choose these names?
So we chose Pumpkin and Patches. We originally got Patches first. We just got her solo. And she looked like a little scarecrow. I was gonna name her like something else originally with her colors, but she looked like a scarecrow. She had all these patches on her. And so I kind of waited for like a few weeks or so. I was like, I don't know what to name her. We saw the other little guy in the store, and he was like this tiny, and he looked like Nemo, and he was hiding in a barnacle at the store. He was just like hiding. So we took him, we bought him for $15, and then seeing them together, I was like, oh my gosh, Pumpkin and Patches, because they just fit perfectly with the colors. So.
And then Ollie is like out of left field. How did
Ollie? Yeah, we were just trying to come up with names for him, funny names. We thought about like Taco or something just like silly, and then I think I don't even know how Ollie came up, but because he's like circular, and I was thinking like Ollie roll, like the roly-poly-olies, you know?
Yeah.
So I just kind of thought of Ollie for that.
Okay, so she has the fish. All right, we'll do a final question. You'll go and then I'll go, and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
And we'll bring Hackett back on here to talk about some post-game stuff.
Ooh, you go first. I have to think of a question.
Okay, we talked about music. We talked a little bit about movies too. Okay, I want to ask this because I need to know, and I know it happens all the time. Worst pickup line you've gotten at Hooters?
Okay, the worst pickup line I've gotten. I'll tell you the worst and the best, actually.
Oh, there's a best.
There's a best, yeah. I actually got a really cool thing.
I've never used them unless I've done it as a joke. I don't believe in them, if I'm dating somebody and she knows my personality, I'll do it as a joke
As a
coming out of
joke.
the bathroom, like
Yeah.
pretending I don't know her.
And that's cute.
But I'm not gonna do it to a stranger.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Okay,
No,
so give me these creepy ones.
So one that people like to use when I ask if like they want dessert. You know, I'm like, oh, would you guys like dessert?
I know what it's gonna be.
I'm already looking at it. Or, are you on the menu? Something of that nature. And those are just always so creepy to me. I don't know what to say back to that.
What do you
Don't
say?
put me in that position.
What do you say?
I just kind of laugh it off. Haha, we do have mini desserts, like chocolate cake. Unfortunately not. Sorry.
Sorry to let you down.
I do just kind of laugh it off. I don't try to make it awkward, but it is so uncomfortable. But I will tell you, the other day I got someone folded me $1 into like a little shirt, and they wrote their number on it, their name, number, and I was thinking, I'm like, that's so smart, because I'm gonna keep that folded up little
Sure.
shirt dollar forever, and it has their name, it has their number on it, and I'm like, that's actually smart, because someone's gonna keep it,
Right.
So I would say that's
So
didn't necessarily work, but
So it's the name and the number doesn't work, but the shirt
the shirt,
stays forever.
yeah.
Because that's like some origamis. That's some tough stuff
Yeah,
to do.
he was sitting there for like 15 minutes folding it.
Did you watch him do it?
Yeah, I didn't know he was folding a shirt, but yeah. I was really impressed. It has like a little collar. It's like professional.
Little baby shirt.
Little baby
for
shirt.
one of the fish.
For
Ollie.
For Ollie, put him on.
It's Ollie's shirt. Yeah.
So I forget what company it is, but they have this contest every year for animals, and what you have to do is you have to take a picture of your animal wearing like bunny ears, and they become in
tell
the
me you did this
face.
to a fish.
I haven't, but I want to next year. I want to figure out a way where I can like not physically put them on, but like digitally Photoshop bunny ears onto my fish, and then I'm gonna submit them for the contest. And I think if they win, you get to be like the face of the product for a year.
Okay.
Can you imagine pumpkin and patches?
If you can get rabbit ears on a fish, you should win everything. You should get like $1 million from America's Funniest Home Videos.
It's gonna be done. It's gonna be done.
All right, let it be done. If you set your mind to it, what's your last one?
Okay.
For me?
I guess my last question is.
All those pickup lines are funny.
They're not funny.
I have never, ever used one. I love coming up with ones that I think are terrible and just like throwing them out there at people.
What kind of wings do you want? Hot, naked, and wet. Like.
Wow.
My last question is, I know you grew up halfway up there, halfway down here.
Yeah.
Which one do you like more, and why?
Okay. This is tough. I feel like part of me so I was born in Syracuse, but I feel like part of me was born there and part of me was born here because of the food I like, the country music. Like, there's parts of me where I'm like, I'm a Southern boy.
Yeah.
But I grew up in Syracuse, which is a city. So it's weird because it's like I don't make sense with all the things there. If I had, like, so having a house, I love that. But I would like to have, like, I like the wraparound ranch where you're, like, outside the whole
Like the
time.
outside balcony,
Yeah.
type porch.
So you have, like, all of that going on.
Like the Notebook style.
Yeah, which I remember. And I figured out, like, the whole plot of that, like, the point of that movie really early in the Notebook. My favorite part of the movie is when they lay in the road and they look at the street light.
Love that movie.
So, but, yeah, I wanted to have, like, the wraparound porch and then have in one of the rooms, like, where you could go out and just, like, sit on the roof because I like looking at the stars.
The stars,
type
yeah.
thing. So I would say, like, yeah, that's the countryside of me. To have enough land, but not so much that, like, a crop circle would be built by an alien. I can't have a big, like, I need time to get away from the aliens, so I need to, like, be in a place that's, like, country, but not as country, so when they build that circle...
so secluded.
Right. So, like, my neighbor, like, 30 miles away is like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe this weird thing that was drawn, and I got a good few minutes to get out before it happens. I can't have that in the backyard. So, I would say that's the countryside of me, but, I mean, Syracuse, it's blue collar. People work really, really hard.
Do you like the snow?
I love to look at it. I love to play in it like a big kid. I love like Lights on the Lake that we have right by me. I love that stuff. So I think there's beauty and there's romance and there's a reason why Hallmark has Christmas movies all year long. But driving in the snow, okay, if there's snow and ice, then driving with me, you will be safe. I will tell you that. But driving in the ice, for me, I like to see the snow and have hot chocolate and be looking outside.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I'm like, it's one of the purest things you'll ever see because it's like untouched.
It is beautiful. I've only seen snow twice, and I cried both times seeing it because it is beautiful. Would I want to live in it? Heck no. Heck no.
It's nice, and it's nice to look at, and it's nice to be about, but I call Syracuse, and I say this as a term of endearment, I call it Santa's armpit. And like, because we get more snow than the North Pole house, like I like going to sleep cool. But I'm the type of person where like it can't be hot in the house when I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Right? I can't deal with people that do that. Like if you're in the house, like I had dated somebody back, and she had this thing where if it was 85 outside, she set the inside air to like 80. And I was like, I'm gonna die more in the house. Like my air in the house has got to be like 69, 70.
Yeah.
Leave it there.
Yep.
But
That's how mine is.
But if the house is hot, I remember living in Kissimmee, there was 3 of us, and the 3 of us guys living in the house, the guy that like oversaw the house, he put the air didn't kick on until 80. I said, at that point, you're dead. You're dead.
Oh my gosh, especially in Florida.
Because 80 in the house is 100.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
It's over with. It's
Yeah.
over with.
Oh my gosh. I
And being
could
part of
never.
that, you've had families who lock the thermostat.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
My
like, my
thermostat
thing
was
is
stuck at
70.
like 73, 74.
Because
In
if you're
Florida,
cool
summer,
at
that's a
night, you
little-
can always put more on.
Yeah.
But if I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I have to take sheets off and the comforter off, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that.
Yeah, I just sweat. Like I can't take anything else off. Like
I
it's just
can't
hot,
sweat like that.
and you just feel like I feel like it just brings my like energy down when I'm like so hot in the house. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go out. You're
get
muggy.
angry.
Yeah.
If you have central
Yeah, I can't
air,
deal with that.
use it.
Yeah.
Use it. I'm
never.
notorious because like the heat, when it's cold up north, the heat will make me sleepy in the car. I'll turn my air on in the car just to like reset my body.
Yeah.
Because I'll start to like, and they're like, did you really put the air on? I'm like, I'm going to fall asleep. Like, I can't deal with hot air blowing in my face in the car. I can't deal with that. So I can deal with 97 here, but my magic weather is 75 to 80 with a little bit of a breeze. That's my like, live with it every day. Apparently it's San Diego weather. So.
I was gonna say that we do get that sometimes. Here we just have so much humidity that it always feels hot.
No.
That's why I
November's good,
left
March is-
Florida. I left Florida because it was too damn hot here to play football. So
But the humidity up north
You know
in
what I mean?
Syracuse is bad too.
no, but the summers are completely different. Like it's not even on the same level.
I
Like,
will tell you, this summer up in Syracuse, it's been 90s like crazy.
Oh, I know those guys are struggling up there.
Like,
Jeez.
and that's not something people are used to. Like, they hate the snow, but when it's 95 for like a week, people in Syracuse lose their minds because nobody's used to it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, they're not acclimated to hot weather like that. Yeah.
So, what'd you say? Hot, naked, and wet. So those are the.
I didn't say that. No,
Hot,
I didn't
naked,
say
and
that. Word to me, I did not say that. So,
Who was that?
that was you, Dan.
Hot,
Oh,
naked, and wet. That's what the Florida man, right? That's the Florida man. If you look up right now, there's some guy that was probably hot, drenched because he was sweating, and naked running around the streets.
Because it was hot.
Florida man is real though.
And I have found on my birthday some really good Florida man. We're gonna do that before we take a break. I want to do that for each of us. We're gonna do birthdays. What's your birthday, Aaron?
August 7th, just passed.
August.
happy
Happy,
birthday.
Yeah,
happy
thank you.
belated birthday. All right, Florida man, August 7th. Let's see.
What
Let's
pops up
see.
for me?
Florida man said he smoked THC because Jesus was returning. There's that one. Florida man sprays women with roach spray, breaks out nunchucks. I like
I like
Oh
that. I
my
like the
gosh,
nunchucks
he
better.
breaks out the nunchucks.
Happy birthday to me then, yeah.
All right, Jordan, what's yours?
December 6th.
December 6th. Let's look up Florida man on December 6th. Florida man charged with attempted murder after failed marriage proposal.
Oh man. Bro, just move on.
Dark.
Let's see here.
Just move on.
Dark. Yeah, geez.
Let's see here. My Florida man story. Oh, can't read that one on the air. You don't really have many.
It's such a weird day. I feel like nothing really happens on my birthday.
Man who thought he was meeting up date arrested by robbers. Oh, Florida man shoots flamethrower at neighbors.
Flamethrowers. That sounds about right.
More
That's
like
a good
it.
one.
Yeah.
Where was
let's
that?
see.
Where was that at?
Fire
Was
sign.
that in?
So let's see here. Florida man, October 21st. What do I have? Oh, this is one. Florida man accused of killing his neighbor after a cat wandered onto his lawn. I told you cats are interesting.
Cats are dangerous.
Oh, here we go. No, that's not one. Oh, this was one, and I know it's a family show, but I have to read this because I thought that this was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. Florida man arrested. I can't even get through it. Florida man arrested for pleasuring himself with ice pack in front of first responders and police.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. You know,
See
'cause
some
that
crazy
stuff
people
actually
around
happens
here,
in
man.
Florida.
Crazy people
That
around here
actually
don't know how to
happens.
act. Yeah, you go
But
down
the
to
thing
Miami
is-
or even up here in Orlando
With an
people-
ice
yeah.
pack.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? And in front of the cops. Oh, and this is a drunk Florida man tried to use tacos as his identification after the cops pulled him
Oh,
over.
I love that one.
It's a good
My
birthday.
Doritos
Birthday
Locos.
Florida man anniversary. Yeah.
So, and there is a Florida man for every day of the year.
Every day. That's not shocking.
So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. Now that we've given you a Florida man update, Aaron Hackett and I'll be back to predict the college football season. Jordan,
Can't
thank
wait.
you as
Yeah,
always.
thank you so
Appreciate
much.
Thank
Yeah,
you
awesome.
guys.
Nice to meet you.
We'll be back right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I don't even know what to say. Hooters from my drive. That was a crazy one. I can't believe you let me say it, Aaron. I can't believe you did it. You're supposed to be
God, that wasn't me. So
You're supposed to
I
be-
put my hand up. Innocent.
supposed to be my proxy over here. What are you doing?
He said it did nothing.
Thank you.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool,
man.
New York.
Worked out
Located
good.
just minutes from the highway,
sorry, I
the
struggle being
thruway,
on camera that
Destiny
long, too,
USA, and
sometimes, so it's a
Onondaga
good
Lake
break for
Parkway.
me.
PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be, from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com.
Welcome back here inside week long. A lot of great stuff coming up from Hooters in iDrive, and always happy to be here on 8801 International Drive for Hooters Week right here in Orlando, Florida. Thank you for being a part of the show on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all / WakeUpCall DT. You know Aaron Hackett from his time as a Syracuse Orange tight end, as well as what you're doing right now with Name, Image, and Likeness for Postgame as the Director of Athlete Relations. We had a question come in, and I want to read this question off because I thought it was great with what we were talking about and where we were going with this when we were talking about this before we had Jordan on for a little bit. And that question is, obviously we're in the early stages of NIL. What do you see as the impact landscape of NIL 10 years from now?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, right? Like July 1st last year, NIL passes, and everyone went about it a different way, whether you talk about the collectives or national brands or whatever it may be, locally, nationally. Yeah. Everyone kind of approached it a different way. I think in 10 years we see more regulation. Yeah. That would be one thing I would say. And, we talked about it earlier on the podcast. Like, I think right now the market is kind of setting itself, right? Like, we know some things that are going on aren't exactly acceptable in the pay-for-play and the influence of high school kids to come somewhere and play over $1 incentive. However, we're also seeing that it's good that coaches are, instead of spending $10 million on a weight room or facilities, they're putting that back into the program to help these guys build their brands and make an impact. So I would say 10 years down the line, I think we'll see more regulation and more unification. It's like I said, this ain't past, and everyone says it's the wild, wild west, and it truly is where we are in college football right now. But, with conference realignment, all the big media broadcast deals that we see going around, I think that things will have settled themselves out 10 years from now, and it's going to be a shock to a lot of people. It's going to be a lot further from the amateur model that we've seen for so long, where you're a student athlete first, you're a student and then an athlete. Yeah. I think we see the players take on almost like a semi-professional league, where you're still attached to the university, maybe even an employee of the university, but not students first. So it'll be interesting. I would like to see, like I said, I would like to make sure 10 years from now, the education is still a huge standpoint for these athletes. Yeah. Making sure they're getting their degrees. Only the top 2-3% make it to the NFL, and even if you do, not for long. You know what I mean? So that's what the NFL stands for. Your average career is 3 years. So I hope that part stays into it, and that we get more unification and a strong leader who can kind of tie the NCAA together right now. Yeah, which we don't. There's so many changes. There's the transformational committee. There's the Constitution being reworked, and with the NCAA, they're having an identity crisis right now at the most inopportune time. If they don't know who they are with NIL, with the transfer portal, who's going to know? And you got the president stepping down amidst all of this with Mark Emmert, who said at the beginning of COVID, he said the NCAA has no control over college football. And I said, well, then you can't suspend players and coaches, because if you can't control the conference and you can't control the school, then you can't control the players and the coaches within that school in that conference. So, I mean,
basically what he said, and there's no Zara football and all this stuff. If I'm Aaron Hackett and I get suspended by the NCAA for a game, I go, no, I'm still playing, because you have no control over Syracuse, you have no control over the ACC, and that's what I'm in. So
I think eventually down the line, and going back to that question I was first asked, like 10 years from now, what do we see? I think we do see a split from the college football playoffs, maybe even NCAA March Madness and the rest of collegiate athletics. I think the NCAA will always be the governing body for FCS, Division II, Division III, NAIA, and I think they do a good job in that role. I just think, like you said, like the college football playoff, even March Madness, those two specific brands are eventually going to have to split off, right? Whether it be conference realignment, changing the playoff system, name, image, and likeness, there's going to be a split of the teams who really can compete in this era and the ones who can't. And I hope that they always maintain the competition and, you know what I mean, that Cinderella story, especially in basketball, that Cinderella story stays around and you don't see such a split from the Power 5 and the G5. But money does talk, and you know, schools who can expense a certain budget can obviously acquire a certain athlete. And so I think by the time 10 years from now, we'll see more unification. I think we'll see the market set itself. And I think that we'll continue to see the athletes who deserve to get paid. And that's the most important thing. I think that name, image, and likeness is here to stay, especially from what it was intended for, which is what I'm doing here at Postgame, you know, which is your name, you're profiting off your name, image, and likeness, whether it's autographs or what we do at Postgame where we're connecting athletes to national brands. You know, that's here to stay, and that should have been there all along. It should have been passed 50 years ago. It should have been passed 100 years ago. There should have never been a ban on a student athlete profiting off who they are and what they are. And if a company, you know, thinks you're worth the money they're paying you to support their brand and help grow their brand, you're worth it. I think the emergence of social media, you know, at least the national brands we work with, you know, whether it be Crocs or Adidas, Reebok, Urban Outfitters, we're starting to see is that, like, the micro versus macro level of things is that, you know, you could go out and get one Bryce Young or a DJ Youngulele, you know, what happened with Dr. Pepper, and those guys are commanding a heavy profit, whether it be $50,000, $100,000 to do a budget throughout the season. And that's one way of going out of marketing, as well as on top of that, doing 50 to 100 to 200 to thousands of athletes on social media, those micro influencers where, you know, I look at it like this. You're the best player if you're playing at a Syracuse University, or even here we're in Orlando, a University of Central Florida. If you're here playing, you're the best player in your high school. You're one of the biggest members of your community. You have influence, you have pull. That's not just football, basketball, but that's every sport. Women's gymnastics, field hockey, lacrosse, all these sports. So companies are learning, like, hey, if I do a large-scale marketing campaign and I use 1,000 different of these athletes, yes, it's targeted in the region that the school's in, but it's also just a national tool, like a national branch, and the visibility of these athletes goes beyond Syracuse, New York. You know, for me, example, I went up to Syracuse. I would have had a market there, but I'd also have a market down here in Florida because I went to Venice High School. You know what I mean? One of the few athletes who was blessed with the opportunity to play collegiately. You know, that market, you have a real marketing impact, and now athletes can get paid from it. You know, we try to connect as many athletes as we can to these national brand deals. We've had a lot of success. One of the favorite things I like about what I'm doing at Postgame is that I get to work directly with the athletes. So whether that be through, you know, text, video call, or Instagram messaging, kind of connecting them to brands, understanding their personalities, and seeing what they like. You know, I've been able to obviously learn from you. I've hopped on the podcast a couple times, so been able to do some of my own interviews through Postgame of just one-on-one with collegiate athletes, and it's been really cool to just, you know, connect with athletes who, I might have played against you, I might have seen you on the field, but I've never really got to know your story. And ties into what you do, right? Everyone's got their own individual story. I firmly believe that, like, every team you play or even see play, you know what I mean? I've been around thousands and thousands of teams in my life, and you know, every single athlete on those teams has a unique perspective and story, and you know,
nobody's story should be silenced, is how I believe.
And for hundreds of years throughout the NCAA it was. And now we're starting to see these stories pop out. And, you know, like I said, ultimately there's going to be more regulation down the line with name, image, and likeness. But the athletes are benefiting today. The ones who are doing it the right way and who are in best interest in the athletes, it's going to stay here for the rest. You know what I mean? That's not going anywhere. And 10 years down the line, athletes will still be getting paid through their name, image, and likeness.
Yeah. You know, and I think the beauty of it is the fact that we're living at this time period where a student athlete can capitalize off of the fact that the NCAA has been making billions off of them forever and a day. And, you know, I said 5 years ago, literally 5 years ago, I said 5 to 10 years from now, the NCAA will either be drastically different than we know it, or it won't exist at all.
Cease to exist, exactly.
Yeah, and I literally said that 5 years ago, and here we are at the 5-year mark, and I said 3 years, you know, in, and last year, I said, look at this. I said, all the things that I saw happening with the NCAA, add in transfer portal, add in the NIL, the things that I didn't think were going to happen, and it's even more in realignment. I said the NCAA is almost lost complete control of this, but at their own peril, right? They have been a greedy organization. They've only thought about themselves. They've thought about the people at the top.
Had no interest in the, I mean, for the longest, they've had no interest in the student athletes' best interest, you know what I mean? As
the
much
only
as they can
interest
say,
is how much they can
say,
you can make for us.
Think of where we've been, not just the last year with NIL pass, but like the last decade, you know what I mean? Where guys were coming out, the UConn men's basketball player was coming out in the NCAA tournament saying, like, they only get 2 meals a day. He's hungry. Like, he doesn't have enough to feed himself. And we've progressively seen the athletes gain more and more rights, and it's gaining steam. And, you know, I think that people who say it's gone too far don't understand the stories of a lot of these athletes. And a lot of athletes I've played with, teammates, roommates, best friends of mine for my entire life have grown up in tough circumstances where, you know, that $3,000 stipend check you get from Syracuse University is nice, but you're sending $1,500 home and another $700 for rent, and then you got to buy groceries. Oh, and the school, you know, you get 2 meals a day from the school. Yeah. But it's tough. And yes, as student athletes, we live a very privileged life. I think anyone could say at any Division I school.
Yeah. You don't have any debt when you leave school normally.
Well, unless you're in a circumstance
unless
like
you're
me,
in your situation.
But that goes back to the NCAA. Like, again, they have no interest in the athletes. They have nothing in the athlete's best interest. They specifically could care less when you're done playing. And I think we'll see the college football playoff break off. I think that'll be the first stone. There's already people talking about it. You know what I mean? It's in the gripes. They met.
And you guys know on the show here, I have long prognosticated what I think is going to happen and who's going to go and how it's going to go. And I talked to John Swafford, who was the commissioner of the ACC, multiple times about the fact of you didn't just become these 5 conferences together. You became the autonomy group, which is a legislative term, and autonomy by definition is self-governing. And I said to him, I was like, did you ever talk with the other guys and say, like, hey, let's just break away? And he said, it's not out of the realm of possibility. At the time, he said, not right now. But he said, it's not that they couldn't. You know, at any given time, the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC, and the SEC, and in that autonomy group can leave. And I have told you all multiple times, the SEC, in my opinion, is forming their own league. The Big 10 is trying to potentially maybe do something with them or form their own. And then I think we could see 3 tiers of Division I football. The SEC and the Big 10, then we would see all the other conference, the other 8 that are within those 10 of the FBS, and then the FCS will continue to perform what it's doing. But where we are right now as a country, the SEC doesn't need anybody. The Big 10 is trying to not need anybody. And I think the Pac-12's way of staying alive is to bond with the Mountain West because you have immediate rivalries that right now neither one of those conferences has, and it takes the whole West Coast because everybody's focusing on the southern part, and then right above it. The Big Ten is a cloud right above the SEC, and they're touching each other. And the American will survive, and the Sun Belt will survive because they've taken a lot of the same markets that the SEC has, so they've taken from that model. But, I mean, ultimately, I said, the Pac-12 didn't just have teams taken, their head got chopped off. The Big 12 didn't just have teams taken, their head got chopped off. So you got 5 in the autonomy group. Pac-12 lost its head, Big 12 lost its head, SEC gained more, the Big 10 gained more, and the ACC sitting there waiting to either be taken from or to take. But there's no big move that the ACC can make right now to those conferences. They can't take the head of the SEC, they can't take the head of the Big 10, and the Pac-12 and the Big 12's heads are gone. The only moves that would be genuinely big for the ACC is to lock in Clemson and get Notre Dame. But Notre Dame is surrounded by the Big Ten.
Yeah, and I think Notre Dame has ultimately always been the kind of moving ship in this whole thing of where is it eventually going to lay. And they have, obviously with their TV rights deal, that it's a hard position to budge them from. I agree with what you said, man. Like, the Pac-12 had their head cut off, and I think that's only just going to widen the gap in college football, right? Because not only did
They weren't even relevant with their head.
Yeah, they weren't. But, I mean, I would say inherently USC and UCLA has always had an advantage over those Pac-12 teams, besides maybe an Oregon who's talking about splitting off to the Big Ten. But they've always genuinely had not only the name and brand strength, but as well as the football.
They had the strength. They just, in the college football playoff,
But
the Pac-12 was kind of pushed out.
An interesting point to kind of look forward is like, what does that additional visibility do to recruiting, right? Because if I'm a kid and Lincoln Riley brings me into USC and he says, hey, not only are you going to be the hottest market in LA, right, but you're coming over to the Midwest every other week and playing in Columbus, Ohio, you're playing in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and you're playing on the biggest stage, the biggest, most visible stage in college football, which is the massive TV deal that they just signed, which is going to enact. And it's like, so what does that additional visibility do to athletes? Like, okay, recruiting battle has always heated up over certain things, but now not only is it money, but it's visibility. And I think that the ACC, Notre Dame is going to be a huge chip in it all. And if they're able to grab them, yeah. They also got to be worried about someone coming in and snatching Miami, Clemson, Florida State. And what happens to Syracuse in an instance like that? You know what I mean? Where are their regional ties? I mean, Penn State is in the Big Ten. They're not going anywhere. I don't see the Big Ten taking Syracuse.
No.
They're 2 up north for an SEC territory, nor do they have the branding.
And
the
it's like a
basketball may
Rutgers.
be able to save them. A Rutgers, but
It's like a Rutgers. I think the Big Ten, if they could give Rutgers back, and I know Shiano's changing things in
but
football.
they would, yeah,
right,
exactly.
they'd give them back.
Yeah,
and I think people would give UConn back. And I think somebody said to me, I love, because I put the poll up, where would you like to see Syracuse? In the American, in the ACC, Big Ten, whatever. And different places said different things, and some people were saying, in the American, which was the old Big East, and that would make sense for them. But in the Big Ten, I told them they would have to beg. Yeah. They would have to beg because while everybody says, well, Dan, it's a New York market. It's not the New York market. It's Syracuse. It's not New York City.
Yeah.
It's not the New York market.
And I think
the New York market, if St. John's had a Division I-A football team, that would be the market.
Yeah.
And then Buffalo actually recruits Central and Upstate New York better than Syracuse. And Buffalo, if they were able to be successful, keep going, the Buffalo market's a bigger market. It's got more professional teams. So there's that side of it. Syracuse is not enticing for the SEC because it doesn't make them better, because they would drop Missouri if they could. They drop Vanderbilt. And then I think, in my opinion, and then in the Big Ten, you throw out. I let Maryland fans, write to me whenever I put stuff up all the time of, oh, Dan, Maryland will never leave. It's the money. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if the Big Ten could literally throw Rutgers and Maryland out the window on the way to the beach, they would.
Yeah, and I think especially with this realignment, the gap's going to get wider. And not only is the gap going to get wider between the American and the Big Ten, but the gap's going to get wider in the Big Ten between the Ohio States, the Michigans, and
you're going to have to tier it.
Yeah,
you're going to have to start tiering your TV money, saying these teams are going to make, $70 million. These teams are going to make 35. These teams are going to make 20. Rutgers and Maryland are going to make 10.
Yeah, and I don't think that. I think the TV deal is a equal share revenue deal.
Right. But that's the thing is they talk about conferences. Do you share equally now?
Yeah.
Should you?
Should you? And here's another point that we haven't even got to, which is on the NIL side of things, is that the Big Ten just signed a $7 billion deal. With they just signed a $7 billion deal.
And look at the money sharing.
Yeah.
The number is allegedly the same number Notre Dame asked NBC to give them. And what I genuinely thought is when you have a boss and you're at your job and you're okay at your job, but you're not 100% happy, and somebody offers you something, out of respect for your boss, you go back and say, will you give me this? When Notre Dame allegedly went to CBS with 3 years left on the deal that ends in 2025 and said, you give us $15 million annually, give us 75. I said, that 75 number that they gave them is because the Big Ten said we're negotiating, and if you join us, we'll give you 75. That's what that number was for. And then you see the $7 billion deal, $75 million each team, and there it is.
And then it's like at a point, like, when are the athletes going to get cut in on this, right? Because that's a lot of money. That's $7 billion. Yeah, like the local car dealership can give you. You know what I mean? And the collectives can give you money, but that's not a $7 billion pool. So that's a whole different aspect.
Well, your argument is take the players out of it. Nobody's making $7 billion. Nobody's making.
So who's entitled? Who's entitled to that money, right? Ohio State University is entitled to that money, and you know what I mean.
And
Michigan
they pay the coaches,
Michigan State, and they pay the coaches. And hey,
and then they tell the players, we just got $75 million coming in, but you got to go find your own deal.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's been the hardest thing is that like I said, the top tier guys will never have a problem getting NIL deals, right? but really large name athletes who you wouldn't think about because there's so many schools, so many different levels, so many different tiers are getting no help in NIL, and there's a market there for them. It comes down to two things, right? It comes down to education and connecting them to brands and making sure that the brands are getting something on return. Like, I was a student athlete myself. I work with student athletes daily now. I understand that there is a challenge and there's a struggle in working professionally with student athletes. Not only are they super busy, but their time is consumed. So, working in the NIL space, I always tell people, like, because they ask me, you know what I mean? What is the hardest thing about working with athletes? What is the key? Obviously, your schedule, this. And I say, people don't know when to reach out for help. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think with athletes, that's true. I think that's people around the building, the support staff, is like that. There's so many resources available at all these great universities. You know what I mean? You want a high-quality cameraman, you can go find one at the VPA program. Yeah. You know what I mean? You need help creating content. There's people dedicated to that, but it goes down to education and not asking for help, and that ties both to the athletes in the school, right? So, I always encourage kids like, oh, how, we're working with this. How do I get in this deal? How do I this? And it all comes down to inherently building your brand. Yeah. And, there's resources available for the student athletes out there. I would say feel free to reach out and ask, because at your school there's resources available. There's resources available nationally. Yeah. And, you work so hard at your sport. Your time is limited, but a lot of athletes never have issues filming the content, you know what I mean, or getting in front of a camera. That's why I love getting with you, man. I'm comfortable in front of a camera. It's the editing and sharing the social media, which a lot of athletes struggle. But if you're able to work with them and work with their creativity, you can make great things happen. So.
Well, that's why, even with my multimedia marketing company, I don't see how I couldn't be paid as a resource for these student athletes to train them on how to do this stuff. And I know how to do all the audio, video production, the directing, the producing, bring different things in, graphics, help them out, how they need to do it, the public relations of it all, what they need to say, how they need to speak, what they need to practice, because I've been doing it for almost 19 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's offered a lot of different job opportunities. It's also teaching the athletes themselves too, like learning, you know what I mean? Like going back to what we were talking about earlier about Sean Tucker of like, oh, should he tweet this or should he not? Like ultimately, it allows the athlete's personality to shine and getting advice and that guidance.
Athletes aren't afraid of their coaches anymore to come out in public and say, I don't want my coach to speak for me. Because in Sean's case, he was like, I wanted to play better. I don't think the offensive play calling allowed me to. And there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that wanted to say that. But when he said that, the world was like, oh, my God, how could he say that? And it's like, well, these coaches say whatever they want, and they critique their players. Yeah. Well, he turned around and critiqued his coach, and guess what? His coach got fired.
And that's why I like talking to you, because you're so real. And this is coming from someone who's, my dad was in the media his whole life. I grew up in the Sarasota Herald Tribune, going to work with my father. And, I would say one critique I have is that a lot of media is not, they don't critique enough, and they try to play that good card and continue to have good value, but they don't ask the questions that need to be said. And I'm sure if you got Sean Tucker in a postgame interview, he might say something similar, or however he wants to express what he's feeling. It's his, that's his vector, that's his medium to express what he wants to talk about.
Yeah. I asked him flat out about 44. He said no.
Yeah,
and I said why? He goes, I thought about it, and he said I like wearing 34. Like, and I'm paraphrasing, but he thinks he's worn it well, and he's like, I'm working on making my legacy with this number. And he said, even if they gave it to me, I would still say no.
Yeah, exactly. And who greater to hear from than the source directly? You know what I mean? Straight from Sean Tucker. So I think that's great. And like I said, things have taken off in the NIL world. Obviously, social media plays such a huge importance that we've never been closer connected to an athlete. You know what I mean? Like,
you can reach out to your favorite athlete as a kid, and they can write you. Like when I was a kid, if Damon Stoudemire and Fred Taylor could write me a message back personally and say, oh, thanks so much for watching me and supporting me, and I would have lost my mind.
And it's the coolest thing, right? Because
you had to write a letter.
It's accessible through your Instagram, and as long as you're on social media a little bit, like when those messages come up in your request, you know what I mean? There's kids who reach out all the time. I still have kids in upstate New York who message me, hey man, I loved you when you were at Syracuse, you know what I mean? And that's ultimately what it's all about too, is serving as a good role model for these athletes. And again, going back to the NIL point, it's like it's allowing athletes to be more visible in the community and go like we were talking about with the Hooters deal, you know what I mean? Go to the local Hooters or
and can you talk about that, because that just happened?
Yeah.
And Omari brought it up yesterday too, that Hooters as a company, as we're here, live from iDrive at Hooters, iDrive in Orlando, 8801 International Drive with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's Hooters Week, previewing the college and pro football seasons. Hooters just signed on a mega deal with a bunch of different student athletes. Like you said, instead of giving one athlete $1 million, they take the money that they have and they split it up against amongst a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to give some more information on the fact that we're sitting in a Hooters with the reality that Hooters as a corporate company just made a big decision with NIL.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes back to, first off, Hooters signed yesterday. The news just broke, so I'm glad we were able to kind of come on here. The timing works perfect with what I'm doing at NIL. But, yeah, they just signed 50-plus offensive linemen to be Hooters sponsors in their local markets. So, there's University of Miami, I believe, is in the deal, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, as well as Georgia Tech. So they're definitely feeding those hogs up front, you know what I mean, making sure those guys get fed. But for a local Hooters like that, like I said, football players are very habitual. And so, if you offer the offensive line to come in and eat every Monday when they got an off day, they'll probably come every day. The benefit for an establishment like Hooters, a local one, is like, obviously they pull in a good crowd on game day, but hey, if you come here on a Monday, you might be able to see your favorite student athlete eat at Hooters, you know what I mean, and interact with them. And so I think that's just one of the cool things. A lot of companies have, like I said, it expanded so fast, and right when it was passed, a lot of companies dipped in. Some of the companies took a slow approach, you know what I mean, and are starting to build their way into the NIL space. But ultimately, I think national brands are realizing that, college athletes are very marketable. They're very influential in their local markets, wherever they're at, as well as the national market. So, and a lot of times the most valuable you will be for a majority of these athletes is during their time at college, where they're in their local market, and they're being able to influence the community. So they're a big fish in a small pond.
Because most won't go pro.
Yeah.
So if you're anti-NIL, just totally on a broad scope, without even saying, like, let's there be some rules and regulations to this. If you just say, no, I'm against NIL, you got to think about it like this. The majority, just look to look at football, and like Aaron Hackett sense, if you play 4 seasons of college football in any respect at any level, look at it this way. Almost every single player that does this, a tiny, tiny percentage of the players that play college football are going to make it in the NFL. And even when they make it in the NFL, might only make it a year, 2 years, 3 years. So your time to make money is your 4 years in college from 18 to 21. When you're done, most guys will never have a chance. So you look at it like this. The conference made money off of you, the school made money off of you, the community made money off of you, the NCAA made money off of you, and most of those players, after they're done, will never put on a jersey again. So if you don't have NIL, that means the only 4 years that you have as Aaron Hackett to make money, in most cases as an athlete, because most won't play in the NFL. Those only 4 years that you have, if you take those 4 years away, then 100% of the money goes to the school, the community, the NCAA, the conference, and none of it goes to the player. Player graduates 21, 22 years old, goes and gets another job because they don't make the NFL. And that's not fair. So they're going to make money off your back, and you're never, every time they sell the jersey with your number on it, they make money, and you're never going to see that. And people go, well, it's not fair, they already get a free education. When they're done, they don't have it. Like you said, Alec Lemon was a big-time guy at SU. But when you're the 7th receiver for the Colts, he's not making that money.
Yeah, and he's not really visible in that market as well.
So it's not fair.
And we're even speaking about it from a college football perspective, right? Like, I probably would have had some visibility. I had a great career at Syracuse, had NFL aspirations, still training for football and never know what could happen. But
maybe an XFL.
Yeah, we never know. But my visibility of that market was at Syracuse and the great fan base that's there. And that's just talking about it from a football aspect. But I think one thing that people who you said, if you're just completely anti-NIL and you're out there and you haven't educated yourself about what's really going on behind the scenes, it's not just football and basketball for NIL. It's men's and women's. It's all across the country at every different level. And like I said, from a social influence, social media aspect, just because you don't play Power 5 football, just because you aren't at a big school, you can still make money off your name, image, and likeness. And we've helped brands run campaigns, just from the female side of things with the female athletes. The visibility has brought them, and the opportunities is that, maybe a program who wouldn't get a whole lot of attention and a whole lot of visibility, clothing brands, fashion wear, lifestyle wear.
I saw Lulu with a lot of your stuff.
Yeah, Lulu's is one of the brands we've worked with, as well as Urban Outfitters. We've got a campaign coming up with
some really high name
So you're helping out
athletes.
female student athletes that
Everyone.
typically would have nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Would have nothing. And they're in our campaigns, and they're segueing themselves, some of them, into a career where you don't know what it would be, whether it be modeling or marketing, or if the brands really like you and they want to work when you're out of college and usually as a model, you never know. But what wasn't there a year ago is now a bunch of opportunities for athletes to have a career after their sport is done.
Yeah.
Still continue to profit off being an athlete at Syracuse University or wherever it may be years later down the line.
Yeah, and there's so many great pieces to, I mean, everything you just said, that what it's doing, because female student athletes had no representation. You think about it, you're like, oh well, everybody gets all the stuff. It's like, no, the football team might travel charter, the men's basketball team might travel charter, but the field hockey team's taking a bus, the volleyball team's taking a bus, the women's rowing team's taking the bus, cross country team's taking a bus. So there's all of these things with NIL that are starting to put people out there and give other opportunities in other ways. And when you think about it from the perspective of most student athletes will not play pro, so they don't ever have the opportunity to make money off of their sport, it makes a lot more sense for you to give them the opportunity. We got 3 quick points here before we wrap up today, giving you a little bit of bonus time. We had a question that came in. Aaron, what is your early prediction for the 4 teams in the college football playoff? Who are sleepers for a team or teams to enter the top 25 this year?
That's right up my alley. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, for the college football playoff this year, I'm going to stick with a few traditionals. I know, you're going to see your Alabama. I believe Georgia makes another run at the title.
Okay.
Those 2 SEC powerhouses, so that's not going to change. Out of the Big Ten, I like to see Ohio State. I think they're going to make another reemergence. The talent that they showed on the outside, and especially at that receiver position. Coach Hartline up there, they just keep on reloading. A sleeper that a lot of people don't see, and I got to put it to 2 teams, right? And this is my sleeper. They're still powerhouses, but they've been dormant. Is either University of Miami or USC.
Okay.
I love Tyler Van Dyke, the quarterback at Miami. I think Cristobal has a hold of that locker room. I've been following him and
Got
what's
rid of
going
the turnover chain. It's more about being.
It's about being in the U and being Miami, and he's taking a priority over
more structure.
Yeah, recruiting and dominating Miami-Dade area. It doesn't hurt that.
I talked to Van Dyke too. You like him a lot?
Yeah, I think he's he's a former teammate of one of my former teammates, Justin Barron.
Yeah.
And so a Connecticut kid coming down to Miami. I think they have a chance. They have the talent. I think Cristobal is a great coach. I know they're going to be good up front. He specializes with the O-line, so I think that skill positions, especially being at University of Miami, you're always going to be able to get the first dibs on all the great skill positions. I truly believe here in Florida, we got the best talent across the country in any high school football, so that's another benefit. Yeah. I'd like to see him, as well as Lincoln Riley, obviously, with the big-time transfers, bringing his quarterback, bringing another receiver from Oklahoma, as well as getting Jordan Addison, the Blitnikoff winner. From Pitt, from the transfer portal. Been a lot of noise going on out there. I'd like to see, if they can kind of put all these distractions of Lincoln Riley leaving and Jordan Addison and all the other distractions behind, I think they can make a run at this. So those are my 4 teams. I've got a few sleepers for y'all as well. Number 1, I'm going to go Ole Miss. Coach Lane Kiffin, man, I think he's brought in a lot of great transfers again. King of the transfer portal, Lane Kiffin, man. I love him. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you got to. He's absolutely hilarious. A guy that not only his players connect to, but I think, this is his 2nd or 3rd round at things. He's made previous stops. He's had failures at Tennessee. He's had failures. He went to FAU. I followed him closely. He actually recruited me when he was down there and really changed that program around at FAU. Been known to use his tight ends. So one breakout player for you guys is going to be Michael Trigg out of Tampa, transferred from USC. He is now playing at Ole Miss, tight ends. Man, you just got to turn on some highlights of this kid from his days at USC last year where he played a little bit, and now in Coach Kiffin's offense. Coach Kiffin's done a good job, as well as the guy behind him, Chad Kelly's brother, Ole Miss legend. So I think that they've got a dynamic tight end room, and that's going to be my sleeper for this year.
Okay. I mean, I would say my college football playoff, I think Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia make a lot of sense. The Big Ten always gets, I think, unnecessary respect early on, and they get ranked so high. I'm not as sold on the Big Ten. I'd like to see somebody else find a way to squeak in. I don't think you count out a team like Cincinnati still. continuing to reload. They had 9 guys go to the NFL, but they continue to. Houston's another team that's coming up.
Yeah.
But I would say, in my opinion, Miami could be interesting, but I think Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M is a dark horse for me as well, because I think Jimbo the last 2 years has done some really good things. Beat Alabama last year. The year before, I think he deserved to get in the college football playoff. So I'm looking at teams like that. I mean, I think the SEC is eventually going to break away and form their own playoff, because I can argue pretty much every year that they should have all 4 spots.
Yeah. And I like what you said about Texas A&M. You know, I love, obviously, growing up in Florida, a huge Jimbo fan when he was at Florida State. One thing that worries me about Texas A&M, and we played there last year as a grad transfer, played there week 1, Kyle Field, you know what I mean, sold-out crowd. And I think they lose one early in the year. I think that, you know, it's such a tough schedule that it's easy for teams to get caught slipping early in the year.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what does a one loss in the SEC do to you? You know what I mean? Especially in that division. Does it push
you got to play Alabama.
Yeah, but does it push you out of the title game?
Yeah.
So going down, obviously, I think, you know, the SEC too, and as we go forward, they might get 3 teams in. You talk about the Big Ten being overhyped this year. I think, you know, and I'm an ACC guy myself, so everyone please hold me to it. But I think the ACC was a little overhyped this year, especially in the top 25 rankings. Having NC State in there, having Wake Forest in there. Obviously, Coach Doran does a great job at NC State. I just don't think they're ready right now to compete on that college football playoff level. It'll be interesting to see if they win the ACC, do they get in, as well as Wake Forest. I see those teams kind of struggling if they do get into the playoffs. How do you compete with Alabama? How do you compete with Alabama? How do you compete with the Georgia?
Well, I don't think anybody I think Wake Forest realized last year the college football playoff is they're only interested in the ACC if your name is Clemson.
Until you expand to 8 teams, yeah. I think that.
I don't think that Wake Forest and NC State will ever get what they deserve from the college football playoff, because I think the college football playoff, and I've said this over and over again, it's Alabama, another SEC, fill it in the blank, Clemson, and the wild card.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 spots right now, and it's been that way. It's going to continue to be that way. But when you look at the SEC and you put it to you like this, if they're able to take Clemson, they'll have the whole college football playoff, because you got Alabama, you got that other SEC spot, you would have Clemson, and you're going to get Oklahoma, who is in there a ton of times.
Yeah.
The SEC is going to eventually take it, and somebody just said to me recently had this conversation with Joe Carlgard, the Rice University Director of Athletics, Recreation, and Lifetime Fitness. I talked to him about realignment, and we were talking about everything, and he said what I've been thinking. He said, well, I don't think we're done, and there's some teams that can't necessarily, they're trying to figure out how to get out of, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, there's some schools right now that may be looking to try and get out of their current situation of what they're in, and the only thing that would make sense is what he's talking about, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, that are in the ACC.
Yeah.
I think the SEC will go to 20 and stop, and I think it's Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and somebody else. I don't agree with North Carolina because they have North Carolina, Duke. I think they'll make a pull for Louisville, because Louisville, Kentucky would be a rivalry.
It's tough too, but then what do you do? Pitt is still a major market. Boston College is still a major market. So,
but I don't think the SEC would take any of them, because they've stayed in the South.
They wouldn't. But with the Big Ten, because the Big Ten's obviously now.
Big Ten should take Penn State.
We hear behind the scenes they're trying to absolve Oregon. They're trying to get Oregon in there to finish out their West Coast. I would not be shocked if they grab another team out there. I don't think they'll be able to. I don't think Stanford will ever. Just because academically, I don't know if they'll ever join.
Yeah.
But man, there's a lot of dominoes to fall, and it's just so crazy how fast things have moved. You know what I mean? I feel like college football for the longest time, and that's why the people who are so against NIL and the change is because they harp on tradition and.
Well, if you want to keep the tradition, legacy. You need to start You got to absorb these teams into these conferences, because the SEC is going to have 16, the Big Ten is going to have 16. There's not going to be non-conference games for those conferences anymore. In my opinion, Clemson's not going to play South Carolina unless they're in the SEC.
No, yeah, and why would
Florida State's not going to play unless they're in the SEC. I mean, that's what's going to happen. Final thing, on Tuesdays we do the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicoli's. And so I would love to get your thoughts really quick here about what you consider to be the ingredients to success for name, image, and likeness. Since you work at Postgame, you're the Director of Athlete Relations. If the topic is NIL, what are the ingredients to have a successful NIL campaign?
Okay, so are you talking from a athlete perspective? Are you talking from a college perspective? Or are you talking from a brand perspective?
I'm talking, let's say brand and athlete. Let's try and tackle it from those two angles.
Okay, yeah. So absolutely, I think for an athlete perspective and just helping connect so many athletes to the brand is just communication, right? I'm thankful to work at Postgame. We've got a lot of younger former athletes who work with us, who were student athletes, have been in the business world for a while. Our COO, Danny Morrissey, former Penn State basketball player, 6th all-time in three-point percentage at Penn State University. So, we all kind of understand how to talk and communicate with athletes, understanding the rigorous schedule that they're under, the pressure, but also not holding them to a standard because, a lot of athletes, they're used to coaching, they're used to being coached, they're used to, if they're not doing something the right way, they want to be told and they want feedback. I know as an athlete, that was the biggest thing for me is I want feedback. So, we try with these athletes and these brands is to never produce content that isn't acceptable or isn't up to standard. And we push the athletes to do their best job, and we push the brands to do the best job of being understanding, being accepting of the schedule. And you know what I mean? Yeah. We're going to stay on the athletes, but we're also going to understand that, hey, you guys are, you know what I mean? I know you just have practice, film, you're in class right now, but I think you've got time to film a 5-minute video and get paid for it. So I think also just understanding that, there's certain athletes who are embracing NIL and really want to be involved, and there's certain athletes who just have no interest, and either one is fine, you know what I mean? Yeah. But for the athletes who want to be involved from a brand perspective, from a university perspective, from an athlete perspective, is just keeping them informed and educated. And those are the two things I want to harp on, is just, making sure athletes understand exactly what they're doing and what the impact of what they do is in their brand, and what you post matters. You're a star, you're a highlight of your university, you're a highlight of your campus, you're a highlight of your hometown. Yeah. How do you use that influence to not only monetize but also give back and create a positive chain of friendships and environment for yourself? So yeah.
And I think the big part of that too, when you're talking about all that, and I appreciate those ingredients to success for NIL, is that I've talked to student athletes where people think, oh yeah, well now that they can make money, they'll just take it from anybody. I've talked to multiple student athletes saying, I've turned deals down because they don't fit my brand. I didn't think it was who I am. There's these bars that a lot of the college students at my school hang out at, but I'm not really a drinker and I don't really want to associate with that like nightlife and stuff. So they backed away from it.
And that comes to the education aspect.
I thought that was great.
Of understanding what brands will help you and what brands will hurt you, and connecting yourself with people who have the athlete's best interest. And that's why I love what we do at Postgame. We're all about the athletes. We don't take any commission from the athletes, so we make it as easy as possible for the athletes to participate in campaigns and get paid. And so, whether it's forms of payment or communication or, really just making things as simple as possible, that's what we do. We have a free-to-use app that, we have over 60,000 athletes who are on the app, and I've show you the app. I've showed a lot of people, but it gives you an evaluation of what your NIL worth, and that's based on the different social media metrics as well as, visibility in your market. So that gives the athletes of what they could basically earn in a year participating in NIL. But it also, we do everything in terms of giving them education on taxes and making sure they're filing their 1099 if they get paid a certain amount. Yeah. Or, telling athletes like, hey, we've had opportunities to work with certain big name athletes that we've talked to their agents or we talked to the athletes directly and been, hey, this isn't a great partnership, right? Like, worked with a high-level SEC quarterback last year from UGA, and basically we had a brand deal for him, you know what I mean? But just didn't, he was honest with us. Hey, I don't really wear this styling of clothing. I don't think it would fit me. And we were paying him well, but I don't think it would fit me. Maybe not this time, but if you have any other brands that connect with me, please let us know. And that's why I love what I do. I'm the director of athlete relations, so I help our campaign team at Postgame understand the different personalities and help tie them to the correct campaign so we can give, full value to the brands and full value to the athletes and really make it a smooth, easy process that stays neat and organized. And, people who are out there, I suggest follow us on Instagram at Postgame Official. Look at some of the content we produce. Right now we're doing deals. We just did a deal with Crocs that's currently live. You'll see some of your favorite Syracuse football players sporting their Crocs all over social media. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah, who do you have?
We've signed a bunch. Those guys are waiting on their Crocs orders. I'll keep it under wraps now.
Okay, all right.
But when you see the videos on social media, just know.
But they're coming.
Postgame Official connected them.
All right.
We're also working with Adidas Ambassador Program. We're the first to do it at 18 Adidas schools. So it's going to be nine Power 5s and 9 HBCUs. So
With those deals, every single athlete at those specific Adidas schools is eligible to be part of Adidas's ambassador program.
Yeah.
They're able to profit off their name, image, and likeness, as well as promote the different gear that they're getting throughout the year. So, for example, that's at Miami, Rutgers, Indiana, Kansas. Athletes at those schools can basically, take a picture, post on their social media of them wearing the tons of gear they get, and add a retail code and get residuals off of, their social media. So
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. We're working hand in hand with Adidas to ensure everything goes smoothly like that. But I think that's just another example of a great company who's decided that they wanted to play slow in the NIL field, and now things are picking up, and they're doing a great job of just how they're targeting their audience and how they're working with athletes, and ultimately having the athlete's best interest at hand.
That coming from Aaron Hackett, the ingredients to success of how to look at name, image, and likeness, a.k.a. the NIL. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, live from iDrive. It's Hooters week, the college and pro football preview week, and we are here on 8801 International Drive all week long to Friday, August 26th, bringing you to the doorstep of college football, as the first games will be on Saturday, August 27th, and bringing you the final piece of the NFL preseason as we'll head off into the season right after that. So with that being said, we're going to take our last step aside here from Hooters of iDrive here in Orlando, Florida, 8801 International Drive. We'll be back with Aaron Hackett right after this to wrap things up and get you set for what's to come.
You're right back right now. You're the best.
Appreciate it.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, salsa cues, Syracuse salt, and chocolate pizza company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
Morning shots.
Morning shots.
Yeah.
Get them loose.
Yeah. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Talk about Amari Palmer, Odyssey Jones, getting those morning shots yesterday.
Morning shots.
Getting everything started. So we want to thank you for being a part of the show today. Week, and we are here on 8801 International Drive in Orlando, Florida by SeaWorld, as well as Walt Disney World and all of your amusement greatness, Universal Studios as well. YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all / Wake Up Call DT. On Facebook.com / Live Now DT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. Once the show goes live, you could search for us on any one of your podcasting platforms: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. You can also ask Alexa or your Google Home device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well. So head to any one of these and search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big time shout out and a thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners and beyond: Cafe Cabal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Millhouse Market, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Honda City of Liverpool, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Witty Wicks, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. And Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You know, Wednesdays is Dolphin time at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and despite the fact that the show is here for you noon to 2 p.m. as we switched our hours for Hooters week, that still means that you're going to get your Lemoyne coverage tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to have an all-new Dolphin Dive special coming to you every Wednesday at 9 a.m. The Dolphins come to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. First and third Wednesday is AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, you get the Dolphin Dive with student athletes, coaches, administration, as well as future Dolphins and alumni. Check out all of our content with the Dolphins by going to the Lemoyne tab on WakeUpCallDT.com for all of our exclusives and more. And, of course, subscribe to YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT for more information. Go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood University Pacers. It is Pacer Pride every single week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. This week, like I said, even though we're going noon to 2 p.m. for our broadcast hours at Hooters, you're still getting your Pacer Pride special this Friday at 10:30, as you always do. We'll be featuring the exclusive first conversation with the Marywood Pacers men's lacrosse head coach that was just hired, Justin Patterson, who will be joining me on YouTube and Facebook, both.com/WakeUpCallDT. Your Pacers are here with Pacer Pride every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. To find out more information on your Pacers and hang out with all of our coverage, go to the Marywood tab on WakeUpCallDT.com, as well as go to YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. And to check out the Pacers 24/7, go to MarywoodPacers.com. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Check out your Bobcats on James Street, and you can check them out in the Bobcat Buzz monthly on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora exclusively. Your Bobcats, student athletes, administration, and coaches have joined us with many, many broadcasts just a few months into our partnership here. You can check them out on the BSC SYR tab on WakeUpCallDT.com. You can also go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Search Bobcat Buzz and get all the content. For more information on your Bobcats and plenty more coming up with the Bobcats, go to Syracuse.bscbobcats.com. Of course, here from Hooters, you find us on our social media at WakeUpCallDT on Facebook, at CallDT on the Twitter, and at WakeUpCallDT on Instagram. For Aaron Hackett and for myself, Dan Tortora, Hack as always. Appreciate you very much.
Sir. Yes,
for
sir.
Postgame Official and for all the great things going on out there. Check out Postgame. If you're a student athlete looking to do some NIL deals, get in touch with the Director of Athlete Relations here. You can find him on social media and on Postgame, Aaron Hackett. For now, from Hooters, I drive on 8801 International Drive. We got to get some wings. We got to enjoy some food. Thanks to everybody that came out. Thanks to everybody that watched worldwide. YouTube.com, Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT for both. And, of course, that listening worldwide on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Plenty coming up this week. A.J. Francis, who played for Maryland and then went on to play in the NFL with the Miami Dolphins and company. He joins us. He's in the WWE now as Top Dollar. He joins us here tomorrow. Jason Lucas, my guy who's been PR front office for professional teams as well as being in the media. Jason Lucas on Thursday, and on Friday we round things out with one of the greatest kickers in the history of collegiate athletics, connected to Syracuse and to Merritt Island down in Florida. Nate Trout will be joining us to round out the week. So plenty of stuff coming up. We've barely just begun, and if you want to go back and listen about NIL, college football, and all these great things, including Syracuse history, don't miss this with Aaron Hackett, and don't miss the exclusive about Aaron Hackett, The Untold Story, which is available on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. For Aaron and I, we look forward to seeing you at Hooters, and we'll talk with you soon. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate it. And as always, as you know, God bless, no stress.